What's up?
What's happening then?
What's going on, everybody?
We back in the building.
Thank you for being here. I was about to mute our mics. I'm all out of sorts. Yeah, what's up, man? What's up, everybody? This is LTMB Live. Back at you. We've been gone for 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Feels like way more than that.
Yeah, it feels like it's been at least
because there's
like
so
6
much stuff
months.
that's been going on, man. So
yeah.
it always feels like longer than it really is, man.
True. It's good to be back, though.
It is, man.
back.
You know what I'm saying? All systems go.
True.
I'm wide open.
Yeah, I think
You know what I'm saying?
a little, revitalized.
Yeah, man, I do feel a little refreshed, man.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know what I'm saying?
A little bit.
But,
yeah, man, we had to take care of some business, that didn't pertain to LTMB, but we are back.
yeah,
we are
man.
back.
Good to see people is actually watching.
No doubt, man.
Good to see y'all's faces that I've never seen before. So I guess I'll say good to see y'all's screen names.
Yeah. And little logos that they...
logos, yeah,
whatever.
good to see your logos that go along with it, yeah.
Well, what do you call them, actually?
Avatars.
The avatars, yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, man, beard a little bit. I don't know what to do with this. I don't know if I want to shave it or if I want to let it grow, man. I don't know.
Kind of like the same
like
thing
the
that happened
hardness
with your hair.
Yeah.
I remember when I started growing my hair, I was like, I don't want to cut it.
Because you're at a point where it's like, okay,
I want to keep it.
Or cut that junk
Yeah,
off.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the point of no return, man. The point of no return.
So I'm still figuring it
You're going to be like James Harden?
I don't think my hair can get that long.
Oh, true.
I don't think it can get that long.
Oh, yo, man. I was going to ask you about this, bro.
What's up?
Your girl's on the market now, dog.
My girl?
Your girl's on the market now. The cougar is loose. The cougar is loose.
My girl and the cougar.
Yeah, the cougar is loose.
He could be going a few different ways with this. So I don't exactly.
I think they know where I'm going with this. She's on the market now.
Okay.
The cougar is loose.
The cougar. All right. Mid-age.
See, she been already on top of it, dog.
Palin's on.
Palin.
I didn't hear that
Palin is
news.
on the market.
I didn't hear that news.
Husband filed for divorce.
Is that right?
Yes, he did.
Wow. That's
Yes,
sad.
he did.
Real sad.
And I'm not surprised.
That's sad.
Yeah, I mean, you sure you don't want to, kind of jeopardize your situation and shoot your shot? You know what I'm saying? Just destroy your own life and shoot your shot?
I don't think I'd shoot it at a conservative. No.
It's like I don't laugh.
Really worth it.
I don't laugh at divorce or whatnot, but this is probably a situation where the contract for the reality show was up, and they were through faking. You know what I'm saying? Now shit got real.
It's very possible. It's very possible. Yeah, I don't know too much about Palin's life. I never watched the episode or anything. I have, the son-in-law, the not son-in-law, the whole. I just pick up bits and pieces. I don't care. I don't care, man. Well, yeah, I did not hear that news.
She was almost, well, not almost, because McCain and her got railroaded during the election.
But she could have been.
She could have been a vice president.
Wow. That's scary.
Think about that.
That's scary.
Something to think about, bro.
Just an update of what's going on tonight, too, in North Carolina. We talked about the special election, North Carolina's 9th district. That is going on right now, that election. So we've talked about it before, as I just said. And what happened in the midterms was that this was the race that was fraught with, allegations of impropriety, some a little bit of corruption by a Republicans.
Just
Republican
a little bit.
Talking about absentee ballots and collecting them illegally and destroying them before they could be counted, things like that. This was done to help the Republican in the race, Mark Harris. He has since bowed out, so he's not trying to win this seat anymore. Now it's a state senator, Republican state senator Dan Bishop. He's the Republican on the ticket now. He's going to go up against the Democrat who has been there since the midterms, and his name is Dan McCready. So both Dans, I didn't realize that. But anyway, this is an election, or this is a district that has been in Republican control for almost 60 years. That I did not know. But it seems as though it's a good chance that this might go Democratic. So the polls close at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. So there might be some news that we will be able to share with you on the show if we see any breaking news or anything like that. If they get to a winner by the time that we get off the show.
Wasn't Trump there in North Carolina having his little rally? Well, it wasn't for him.
Of course not.
It wasn't for him.
No.
It
But
was
a Trump
It was
rally.
a Trump rally. He was
Trump rally,
cheerleading the Republican candidate.
Of course.
And during this rally, ironically, he brought up voter fraud.
Is that right? Ironically, huh?
Ironically, he brought up voter fraud, but not in the way that like we would bring up voter fraud as it pertains to this particular district.
Right.
Because there's a reason why there's a special election in that district, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
okay.
And see, that's not voter fraud.
That's actually
election.
That's election fraud, which
Yes.
has way more impact, which it did.
Of course.
But
he brought
didn't-
up voter fraud.
You would think he would bring that up because he's been just hyper vigilant about supposed voter fraud and illegal voting. You would thought he would have kind of brought light to the situation that required this. You would think that
that kind of is a critical thing.
That's a
of
critical.
Republicans. I mean, but it's a.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm
If
saying?
they
It's a
were
stain
so,
on Republicans.
If he was so concerned about voter fraud, election integrity, I would have thought he would kind of have mentioned or voiced why this special election was necessary. And okay,
You don't want to point to something like that when you want to see the Republican win. No, that's not how you make a good case. No. But let's stay with Trump. Some news was made today. I think it was today, right? It was early today. I believe it was
this morning.
Yeah, just this morning.
man.
So President Trump on Twitter announced that National Security Advisor John Bolton had been relieved of his duties, had been fired. And so he did this on Twitter, like I said. This was the tweet that he shared with his followers. I informed John Bolton last night that his services are no longer needed at the White House. I disagreed strongly with many of his suggestions, as did others in the administration, and therefore I asked John for his resignation, which was given to me this morning. I thank John very much for his service. I will be naming a new National Security Advisor next week. So the war hawk, John Bolton, who never met conflict that he didn't like, is now out as the National Security Advisor. He is the third. He was the third National Security Advisor for this Trump administration. It's interesting. Trump is being sort of celebrated at the moment for making a decision like this, because of course there's no denying the war hawkness, if that's a word, of John Bolton. It goes back many years. North Korea, he wants to bomb him. Iran wants to bomb him. Wants to overthrow the president, Maduro, in Venezuela.
But Trump was kind of behind that too, along with Mike Pence.
Yeah, that's what it looked
So
like.
I
That's
think
what it
it's
looked like.
kind of a knee-jerk celebration simply because John Bolton is seen as a war hawk. But I think this is one of those situations where there's no good guys in this situation. Simply because one bad guy's leaving, it doesn't mean the other guy who is a part of this, the main person, which is Donald Trump,
Right.
it doesn't mean he's the good guy in all this.
Right.
It doesn't mean he is not a war hawk himself, simply because a war hawk is leaving his administration.
And he's done some war hawk stuff since he's been the president of the United States.
Yeah, this, you never know what this is about. Because what recently just happened? Didn't the whole talks with the Taliban fall through?
Yeah, and that's really it's viewed as what was the last straw for John Bolton, because John Bolton disagreed with Trump holding those talks with the Taliban.
Well, from what I've read, the Afghan authorities, meaning the Afghanistan government, they weren't included in these secret talks with the Taliban. So there was some bad blood going on between the United States State Department and the Afghan government, because these talks were this supposed agreement was kind of like a backdoor agreement with the Taliban. So, and to me, it doesn't make sense. There's something else going on, because it doesn't make sense the reason they used for why the deals got broken off, because some American soldier got killed.
Yeah, there was some type of attack in Taliban. They claimed.
But there's been lives lost back and forth on both sides while these negotiations were going on. So there's definitely something else going on there.
It still would be interesting for the president of the United States to hold some talks with the Taliban, though. It would be interesting.
Well, see, no, not only would be interesting, it's like we already know that Donald Trump tends to want to make himself look like he's in control. So is he the one that called them off? Is he really the one that called off these talks, these negotiations?
I don't know.
Or did the Afghan officials find out that he was talking to them without consulting them first?
Right. I don't know. But anyway, back to Bolton, though. Again, it's viewed as though there was a disagreement on those talks. Bolton was not in agreement with them. So that's what led to his ouster. But Bolton has another story to tell. Bolton claims that it wasn't Trump that fired him. It was that he actually resigned, or he offered to resign from his job just days earlier. So on Twitter, he wanted to set the record straight. And so he said, I offered to resign last night, and President Trump said, let's talk about it tomorrow. So that was just earlier today, Tuesday afternoon. And he also talked to some reporters to try to set the story straight. I am inclined to believe John Bolton. Not that I like the guy or anything that he stands for, but it seems like this is something that President Trump likes to do. He likes to front like he's the one making decisions. He likes to front like he's the one leading from the front, not behind. If John Bolton offered to resign, no. Okay, so he's going to be out of his job. Trump wants to promote some semblance of strength. No. Okay, you go home, and what I'm going to do is announce on Twitter that you've been relieved of your duties. I fired you. I'm the strong guy here. Trump is that petty. I believe Trump is that petty, and I believe that's how the situation unfolded.
Hey, to me, I don't think this has anything to do with foreign policy approach at all.
No.
I don't think this changes the Trump administration's agenda.
No.
But regardless of whether he's receiving good or bad intel, and I don't know how you define good or bad. However you define good or bad, I don't think Trump is the type of person to listen to an advisor anyway.
No, he's not. No. And like I said, Trump has war hawk, I guess, tendencies himself. Even before John Bolton got to his now former role of the National Security Advisor, there was the mother of all bombs. There was the bombing in Syria. There was the increase of drone strikes. There's been many things that Trump has been supportive of. So
the lead up to the talks with North Korea.
Right. That was all tension.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what really John Bolton's departure actually means. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some details that'll come out later. Maybe some inside information. Maybe the fallout from all this. Maybe some things were going on, behind the scenes.
Right.
I can't remember where I was reading this, but apparently John Bolton was receiving money from some anti-Iranian group. So that he might, that might have put him in a conflict of interest with the Trump administration. But then again, if you know what kind of person Trump is, he's going to attract people,
Yeah.
he's going to attract people that are, in it for their own interests. So I really don't feel sorry for Trump here because either he didn't vet John Bolton correctly, but I can't believe that though.
No, of course.
I can't believe he didn't vet, John Bolton. Oh yeah, about that anti-Iranian group, that was financed by the same people who funded Trump's campaign. I think it was the Adelsons, like Sheldon Adelson and all them. I think it was the Adelsons. So I don't know. Maybe he brought on John Bolton as his advisor to fulfill, maybe just to do that favor back for people who funded his campaign. So it's just all the same people here.
Well, we know that Trump inserted his own swamp, even though he was supposed to be draining it. We know that Trump inserted his own swamp. So, look, like I said, like you said too, I don't think anything's going to change with John Bolton not being in this role. For the meantime, who's going to be in that role as the interim National Security Advisor is going to be Charles Kupperman, who is the deputy national security advisor. And Trump did indicate on Twitter that he's going to be naming a replacement soon. So, yeah, we'll cover that when it comes. All right, let's stay with the Republican Party. All right, so, of course, right now, we have been covering, well, it's presidential I guess it's presidential primary season, even though we haven't really hit the first primary and caucuses, but it's that campaign season for the presidential election in 2020. So we've talked about the numerous Democratic candidates that are striving to be the next Democratic nominee for president. Haven't really done too much coverage on the Republican Party because usually the party that is in power, there's not usually a challenge within that own party, challenging the current president. Well, there is this time. And so there are, I believe, three Republican challengers to President Donald Trump. The latest one being Joe Walsh, who was a one-time U.S. congressman. I believe he only served one term and then he got booted out by his constituents. But he joins Mark Sanford, who was the governor of South Carolina. More recently, he was a U.S. representative from South Carolina. And also William Weld, who was a former governor of Massachusetts. So these three are running as Republicans to challenge Donald Trump. So what are state Republican parties doing? They are trying to, they're trying to protect the incumbent president as much as they can. So 4 states, South Carolina, Nevada, Arizona, and Kansas, all voted this past weekend to cancel the presidential primaries and caucuses for 2020. And it's expected that there will be other states that join them as well. What do you think about that?
I know that Donald Trump's approval rating is really low right now.
Yes.
35% to 40%.
I just saw a poll that it dropped like another 5%. Yeah.
With Trump polling so horribly, right? Mm-hmm. And Trump not really having any, key legislation that he can,
hang his hat on.
Yeah. He
celebrate.
Celebrate. He hangs his hat on the First Step Act, but I guarantee you he would not be able to name anything in that bill.
Yeah.
And that bill is very
First Step-ish?
Yeah, it's very First Step-ish. A lot of the groups that worked on the bill, a lot of the activist groups that worked on the bill didn't get a lot of what they wanted out of it. So anyway, there's not really a lot we can say about Trump's first term.
So there's not like a landmark positive policy. There is a landmark bill that was passed, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, but I'm not sure that he wants to run on that.
He's been running on promises lately.
Yes,
promising
that's true.
To get people health care.
Right.
Promising tax cuts.
The wall.
The wall.
After
re-election. So he's running on promises now. So I'm trying to figure out why Republicans are circling the wagons and just going overboard to protect somebody that is actually not that popular.
Right. Somebody that's very vulnerable.
Somebody who's very vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? You would think that if party mattered to them, it doesn't matter to me personally. I don't give a damn about their party. But if party mattered to them, and their party integrity remaining solvent, you would think that they would be like, okay, we have to save the party.
Right.
So what does Trump have over them?
Man.
What does Trump have over them? That's the question.
Trump,
why are they protecting him?
Trump has, not really. Look, within the Republican Party, of course, he has a large amount of support, overwhelming amount of support.
90-something%.
Yeah, of course. But this is within the Republican Party. You would guess that it would be like that. I mean, it's always like that. famously, they just don't care. And that's not just to do with the Republican Party. Democrats are like that as well. Doesn't matter what the Democratic president is doing, the Republican president, you're probably going to have a ton of support with your own people. But still, like you said, it doesn't seem as though it's rooted in any type of logic, like anything that he has specifically done for the mass majority of citizens in the United States of America. Like, what can he actually hang his hat on and run on? His approval rating continues to tank. Why would you just, like you said, circle wagons and just try to protect Trump? It's that Trump is the Republican Party now. We all know it. As soon as he became the Republican nominee, anybody that was associated with the GOP, the Republican Party, they wrapped their arms around Donald Trump, and that has not changed whatsoever. Whatever he is for, and look, we've noted this too. Look, Trump's agenda is not very different from the Republican agenda. He just sells it, I guess, with more bluntness and more racism, open racism, things like that. They probably would not be comfortable with his style, but I think they're very comfortable with the actual policies he's trying to put forward.
It just seems like he is the only one that has been willing to essentially walk that line between legal and illegal.
Yeah.
Potentially break the law
Yeah.
in order to get what he wants. Mm-hmm. He's actually floated pardons to, I guess, members of the government that are in control of certain departments, like along the border. He's actually floated pardons for, I guess, people in whatever. It's not ICE, but what's ICE under? The Department of Homeland Security or whatever. Yeah. He's actually floated pardons for members of that department. Pardons for what, though? Why would you float pardons? Because you're instructing them to do something illegal. So he's been the only Republican president that's willing to kind of skirt the law to get what to fulfill the Republican agenda.
And again, they don't care because, like you said, you called it the Republican agenda, not the Trump agenda. It's the Republican agenda. They don't care. They will do anything. Trump is the Republican president now. I mean, they don't want to do anything to jeopardize his chances, and I assume they know how slim his chances are right now against multiple Democratic candidates. So they don't want to do anything that would make him look even weaker. So they're just trying to cancel all these primaries. So Matt Walsh and William Weld and Mark Sanford, sorry, they don't want anything to do with an open primary and you debating Donald Trump on the issues. You may come away looking a little bit better. Look, I don't really believe that they have a chance. Even if these states were to embrace the democratic process and actually let them campaign and let them debate Trump and, hold these state primaries and caucuses, I don't really believe that those figures could beat Donald Trump. I don't think they're strong enough.
I think they would maybe pull.
I think they could.
They would pull some Republicans, and I think that's what they're more afraid of as well.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just that, Donald Trump has something on them.
No.
Or they could stand to benefit from a Donald Trump presidency. I do think that maybe they're scared that, these challengers could pull some people away from Donald Trump, enough people to affect him during the race. Yeah,
I believe that's true. Of course, we have a couple quotes from these candidates that were not happy with the news of these states electing to cancel the primaries and caucuses. Joe Walsh said, Trump and his allies in the Republican National Committee are doing whatever they can do to eliminate primaries in certain states and make it very difficult for primary challengers to get on the ballot in a number of states. It's wrong. The RNC should be ashamed of itself, and I think it does show that Trump is afraid of a serious primary challenge because he knows his support is very soft. William Weld added, we don't elect presidents by acclamation in America. Donald Trump is doing his best to make the Republican Party his own personal club. Republicans deserve better. This just kind of, this subject kind of brought me back to some movements. You recall 2016. And there was a lot of talk about the Democratic Party being corrupt, the DNC in particular being corrupt, rigged process,
the election,
screwing Bernie, cheating Bernie, this and that, right? And there was a lot of talk about what was it before? What was it then? It was dim exit. Okay, it was dim exit. Now, I mean, dim exit was fine. I believe, because a lot of people were like, look, we're not going to be registered Democrats anymore. And I mean, I don't care about that.
I think that kind of movement got actually co-opted.
Oh, yes, it did. Like we have never been Democratic. Well, we've never been registered as Democrats. South Carolina, you don't have to be registered, so that's one thing. But a lot of people across the country have been. But it wasn't a bad thing, I don't believe. But like you said, it got co-opted.
Yeah, because a lot of progressives were talking about that. But what they weren't talking about was just arbitrarily giving up all of their principles.
Right.
Right.
Right. Nobody said nothing. Nobody intimated anything.
It was more about, kind of reflecting on what the Democratic Party had become.
Right.
And what they no longer represented was the will of the people.
Right. And so you didn't want to be,
associated
with that.
But you're not going to
particular party,
like completely wash away who you are, your principles,
your
platform, ideology, and all that.
So, but there was a movement that was representative of that, and that was the Walkaway campaign, which we did discuss months ago. And so the Walkaway campaign, and you know what, I can't remember the guy that started it and got somewhat famous because of it, but he was. I can't remember. Pretty much the walkaway campaign was, walk away from the Democratic Party into the arms of the Republican Party. So that's what you're talking about, just washing away all of your principles, your political goals, and your ideology, everything that makes you politically. You're supposed to just ignore that and go to the Republican Party because you felt some type of way about what the DNC did. Now, that was bullshit, and that's what we called it. But
DNC bad does not equal
Republican good. Yes. No way, no shape, no how, right? But that does the reason why I'm going in that area right now is that if the DNC was so bad and it was such a rigged process, I wonder how those folks are feeling right now with how are they feeling with this news right now? Because this is a complete elimination of the democratic process. You're eliminating the opportunity for people to legitimately have a shot at campaigning, at becoming the Republican nominee. Like, who cares if it's an incumbent Republican in the White House right now? Who cares? If you don't have a vast majority of support from the American people, then you should be able to be replaced. It should be a process. Now, in 2012 with Barack Obama, there was no challenger. There was no challenger. And usually there's not really a challenger within one's own party. But in 2019, we do have 3. So
members of his own party are trying to challenge his presidency.
Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about people that are unknown either. We're talking about people that have held positions.
And who are staunch conservatives and been lifelong Republicans.
Right.
And it has gotten so bad that these particular Republicans are damaged themselves, especially Mark Sanford.
That's true.
And Walsh,
right,
who has like a lot of back child support he has to pay, and Mark Sanford, who has
oh my, he has oh my.
Yeah, he has oh my.
Yeah,
he was in another country doing some things. That's all I'm gonna say. He was saying he lied and said he was
while he was the governor.
While he was the governor,
yeah,
he lied and said he was hiking in the mountains.
Yeah, something like that.
He was hiking in some other mountains.
Yeah, he was.
He was hiking in some other mountains. And then his wife had like cancer or something like that too, didn't it?
Bad man.
No, that was Edwards. That was
Edwards.
That was my bad. That was John. Yeah. That was somebody else.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that was. But yeah, like you said, I mean, look, it should be a fair process. That's all I mean, I would want it to be a fair process. So if there was a Democratic president that I agreed with, that I supported, and then here comes the next election and that Democratic president is up for re-election and trying to get re-elected, but there's a challenger to that president, would I want them to be squashed before they even get a chance? No. I mean, there's a process that's supposed to be implemented. Like, to do away with that is not going about the democratic process. So that's what I'm for.
And that's what, and you know what, and Trump used that to his advantage in 2016.
He did.
Remember he talked about that?
He did.
He's like, hey.
He brought up Bernie's name.
He brought up Bernie's name. He used Bernie as a way to kind of, I guess, virtue signal.
Yep. Look what the DNC is doing to Bernie. Ooh, Bernie got screwed over. He said things like this.
Screwed over by crooked Hillary.
Exactly.
Why would you want
the DNC?
In the DNC, why would you want crooked Hillary to be your president when they screwed over Bernie? They'd screw over you too. So he kind of used that.
But now, years later, there's 3 challengers, at least 3 as we know it of right now. As of right now, there's at least 3 Republican challengers that are trying to come away with the Republican nomination. Good chances or not, that's what they're doing.
If they were, again...
And Trump is here not saying that, yes, they should be allowed to do it. He's mocking them. Because he's made comments. He's been mocking them.
But it's easy to mock, right, when you have individuals circling around you and protecting you. So it's easy to mock. Mm-hmm. Now, we don't think they have a chance, nor do we like them. No. We don't think there are better options. Because Joe Walsh is a damn racist and white supremacist. So we don't think there are better options. We don't think they have a chance.
Trump is too.
Yeah, I know. We don't think they have a chance.
Right.
But my thing is, they should know, the individuals that, or the representatives that are protecting Trump right now, shouldn't they know that these individuals that are challenging Trump or trying to primary Trump don't have a chance either? Then what are they scared for?
What are they scared for?
Why does Trump have to stay in office for them to do what they have to do? You know what I'm saying? It's something else going on here.
It have to be. Again, you say those names: Sanford, Weld, Walsh. These aren't heavy hitters. These are not heavy hitters. These are 3 individuals that do not have a public office as of right now.
You think they would pull maybe 2 million votes? Because, you know, I would say, like third party, the last election, you had Gary Johnson.
Yeah.
He pulled about, what?
It was over
3.5, 4 million.
I think it was
4 million.
I don't know.
It could have been like between 3.5 and 4 million. I know he had 3 times as many votes as Jill Stein. She only had a little over 1 million.
A little over 1 million.
Do you think they'd be able to pull 1 million or 2 million? I think that would be enough.
Yeah, but they would have to run as independents at that point, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're willing to do that. So, look, they're trying to just go through regular process, and that is the primary and caucus process. If Donald Trump comes away with the nomination, so be it. But there should still be a regular process. And what these states are saying, at least these 4 as of right now, what they're saying is that, nah, we don't want no part of that. No. Trump is the president, no challengers. Sorry. I think there's going to be other states that do the same thing. Like I said, I believe it's expected that other states will follow suit.
But they might be opening themselves up for a lawsuit as well.
I don't know. I wonder, because really these state parties they're not bound by anything, I don't think. I mean, they can make their own rules. As I understand it, I think they can make their own rules. I'm not sure. Maybe there is a court challenge. I'm not, I can't be certain. But just what I'm, from what I've researched before, just what I've understood is that these state parties, there's nothing in them about in the Constitution, of course. They can run their own show, and whatever they do is whatever they do. And I don't know if anybody can challenge it. So, really, it's about the American people. What they will accept. Are the American people going to be okay with you just shutting down the competition? And probably most Republicans are gonna be like,
yeah,
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't think they would care. I don't think there's anything gonna come of their campaigns. They might drop it.
Yeah.
They might drop their push to run once they figure out these states are blocking them.
Right.
I don't think they're going to stop making noise, though.
Oh, no.
That's the thing. They won't stop making noise.
It will be a bad look.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that. It's going to be a bad look. And it's not the opposition party that's doing it to Trump.
Right.
And that's something that I don't think Trump can get away from. He can't constantly use the Democrats as some sort of proxy to talk about, who's against them, and they're trying to stage a coup. I'm like, dog, members of your own party are like trying to stage primaries, bro.
Right. Hillary Clinton, she put him up to it.
See, man, don't even put that out there, man, because you know how people are.
Yeah.
You know how people are.
I know.
People will come up with anything.
The deep state, this long con, all of that. Yeah. All right, let's leave that alone. Let's talk about Rahm Emanuel, former mayor of Chicago. Rahm Emanuel, the former mayor of Chicago, thankfully former mayor of Chicago, he appeared on ABC with George Stephanopoulos this past weekend on ABC's This Week. The subject of healthcare came up, and Rahm Emanuel had some words to say about it, specifically Medicare for All.
We've taken a position so far, and the candidates have, through the process, a few have not, on basically Medicare for All, which is we're going to eliminate 150 million people's health care, and we're going to provide health care for people that just come over the border. That is an untenable position for the general election. As you know, George, I just biked around Lake Michigan, nearly 1,000 miles, through Michigan and Wisconsin, two really important states. Nobody at a diner ran at me and said, take my health care away. Nobody. This is reckless as it relates to, and you don't have to take the position to win the primary, and you're basically literally hindering yourself for the general election.
To the
Rahm Emanuel. He was chief of staff for some guy. Wasn't he?
Yeah, it wasn't really that long ago. I mean, when you think about it, it wasn't that long ago.
Wasn't he chief of staff for some guy?
Some guy.
Some guy.
Some guy.
I'm trying to remember who that guy was, man.
Like I said, it wasn't that long ago.
Who was that guy?
He was in the White House. He was chief of staff in the White House, not just like in some state.
You have
he was in the White House.
I know he was chief of staff. I'm trying to figure out who is he chief of staff.
It was that guy.
From Kenya? Obama.
Yes.
Boy, that's what Hank Williams said. What did he say?
He said,
Obama! When he was on Hank Williams. But didn't Obama run on healthcare?
He did.
He ran on healthcare. He ran on Medicare for All.
Yeah, he did. Public option.
And when he was running, he said that it would not take away people's insurance. And he challenged that notion anytime someone brought it up. He said, no, it's not going to take people off.
Right.
This is what Barack Obama said. He was chief of staff for Barack Obama.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that Obama's former chief of staff and Obama's former vice president are contradicting him right now.
Yeah. And Obama has, again...
We're talking about what Obama ran on, not what Obama ultimately became when he was president. Clarification.
I don't know that I go so far as to say what Obama ran on was Medicare for All. I mean, sort of. I mean, he did run on the public option. I don't know that I want to say it's Medicare for All. Okay. But in recent days, remember he made that speech.
He made the speech, and he's actually supportive of Medicare for All.
Exactly.
So fast forward to now.
Right.
So back then, he was more for a single payer system.
Right.
So I think it's more relevant now. You brought up, like, he recently has championed Medicare for All.
Yes.
How does that look when the former Democratic president, the last Democratic president, champions Medicare for All, and he has a VP. His VP is running now, and he's
completely bashing it.
And his former chief of staff is on, what is he on this week?
Yeah.
Bashing it.
Yes.
And matter of fact, it was that segment was without Chris Christie, because I said it was Pompeo before the show. Okay. I always get those two mixed up for some reason. Yeah. But it was both him and Chris Christie bashing it.
Nice.
Tag team.
Nice.
Rahm.
He said that he hasn't seen any constituent come up to him and say, please take my health care away. That's cute. That's real cute. I don't, look, it's, Like, he's not being genuine. We know that. He is being very disingenuous. Medicare for All does not take away anybody's health care. We talked about this going as far back as 2015 with Bernie Sanders and talking about a single payer system. On the way to getting a single payer system, the current system would still be in place. Now, this is unlike what Republicans would like to do. Republicans are always campaigning to get rid of the ACA, repeal and replace. Now, they've always been short on the replacing part, but they're strong, very strong on repealing it. They voted, I don't know how many times now, to try to repeal the ACA. Now, Democratic candidates, such as somebody like Bernie Sanders, who advocates for Medicare for All, if you say he wants to change healthcare in this country, yes, you're damn right. He actually does want to change healthcare in this country. He wants to do more than what the ACA is, but that does not mean repealing the ACA between the time of like now and when we finally get Medicare for All. No, it would still be in place. So to say those words on national TV, you're just trying to scare people. Yeah. You're just trying to bash Medicare for All and, frame it as some type of pie in the sky idea and something that's bad policy that the vast majority of Americans will not support.
Well, he's purposely using the word healthcare.
Yeah.
He's purposely using that healthcare because that's what people care about. But I assume he really means something else. He means insurance.
Oh, yeah.
You know what he means insurance. He's just using
private
that.
Healthcare.
He means private insurance.
Right.
People will lose their private insurance.
Of course.
He's not saying that because he knows how people will interpret that. People will interpret that to mean, okay, I won't lose my health care then. Yeah. So they're not going to say private insurance. They'll just say health care. And I also assume that he knows private insurance is different than health care.
Of course, he knows this. And like I've said many times before, when's the last time you heard anybody say, oh man, I really love my Blue Cross and Blue Shield?
Oh, you mean to tell
I really love Aetna?
Wait.
Oh man, I love this company.
You mean to tell me when we go to get treatment, we don't go see Dr. Aetna?
No, you like go to corporate headquarters and get treatment? No. You actually go to a doctor. You actually go to a
So we don't go to see
medical facility.
Dr. Blue?
No.
Dr. Blue Cross? Dr.
United Healthcare?
Dr. Blue Shield? We don't go see them? Okay.
No. See, and see, again, that's why he knows he's being very tricky here. When you say healthcare, people are only concerned about what they're getting versus what they're spending. That's really that's the only equation people want to know anything about. What am I getting and what am I spending? I don't care who's the middleman here. Is it Aetna? I don't care. Is it Blue Cross? I don't care. Are the rates going to stay the same and is my coverage going to stay the same? That's what they're concerned about. So if Medicare for All comes and it's through the government, it's through the government, but your bottom line is going to be less, but you're going to be receiving at least the same amount of healthcare, the same level of healthcare, or better.
Why don't
this is scary?
Why don't the American people deserve the same kind of healthcare that our members of Congress get?
That's the question that's been asked before.
Because they like their healthcare.
I really do wish somebody like a George Stephanopoulos would ask that question. Why can't a regular American get the same health care that you get? Where do you get your health care from? The government, right? Okay, well, why can't regular people get the same thing that you have?
Yeah, the government facilitates the health care that they're provided, and it's great health care.
I never see them complain about it. As much as they complain about the government, I never see them complain about government health care.
Well, to me, what I remember about Rahm the most recently, is his handling of the Laquan McDonald case, or the Laquan McDonald case.
Yes.
Where he pretty much covered for an officer that shot Laquan McDonald, a teenager. I believe he was 17.
Yes, he was 17.
He was 17?
He was 17.
And got shot 17 times, right? Was it
17? 16. I believe it was 16.
Okay.
He emptied the clip. I think
emptied
it was 16
the clip
times.
In the back.
Yeah. the side, while he was on the ground.
He was on the ground.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah.
So I'm just really not inclined to just believe that dude.
Yeah, whenever the subject
or trust that dude.
Whenever the subject of Rahm Emanuel comes up, I feel it is appropriate to say fuck you to him. Fuck you, Rahm Emanuel, for Laquan McDonald, because it was 400 days before the officer was fired and charged for a crime. 400 days.
He helped cover up. He helped cover up
days.
He helped cover up a cover up because he didn't himself participate in the initial cover up.
No,
but he covered up for the.
He was the mayor of Chicago at the time, and you're telling me the mayor did not see the video? You telling me the mayor did not see the video at any point during those 400 days? He did not realize that this officer gunned down Laquan McDaniel in cold blood?
It may not have been a highly publicized case. It may have not been a highly publicized case.
It was only until a judge, I believe it was a federal judge, ordered the tape to be released. It was only until that time to which the tape was actually released and the officer charged. It happened pretty much simultaneously. Just a coincidence. So again, whenever we talk about Rahm Emanuel, I think it is prudent to say fuck you, Rahm Emanuel. I really do think that's prudent. All right, let's move it on. Want to go to Warren. Let's go to Warren. A few things about Warren, actually.
We might ruffle a few feathers with this one. Maybe even the next one too. But I think the next one mostly.
Oh.
I'll let you take that one.
I never scared. Okay, Elizabeth Warren. Where do we want to start? Okay, let's start with the military budget one. All right. So TYT's Emma Vigilant recently asked Senator Elizabeth Warren and presidential candidate. She asked her a question about the military budget. Now, if you know anything about Elizabeth Warren, she of course presents herself as a progressive. On many different issues, of course. Mostly her area of, expertise is financial, on budget concerns and consumer issues.
Banking regulation.
Yeah, making sure that those with power are held accountable for their actions. She was a member of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, of course. But there has been a concern about how she would be as a president concerning the military, and of course the military budget as well. So Emma Vigilant asked her a question about, a contradiction, and this is how Elizabeth Warren answered.
You have focused a lot on progressive domestic policy. You also voted for a military budget increase in 2017. How does that square with your progressive politics when we're talking about foreign policy?
If the question is, do I think we should cut the military budget, the answer is yes. And I'm now on the Senate Armed Services Committee. I've had this fight over and over. But there's another part to it, too. We need to stop the control over our defense budget that's exercised by the giant defense industry. As you know, we now have a Secretary of Defense who spent 7 years as head lobbyist for Raytheon. I asked for some simple conflict of interest rules that he would abide by. For example, not to make decisions that involve Raytheon and Raytheon's bottom line. And he refused. The Republicans confirmed him anyway, but this is what corruption is all about. Putting lobbyists in charge of our government agencies, former lobbyist in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency. This is the heart of corruption. And the moment has come to call it out and to fight back. That's what being in this room was all.
I'm very confused.
I'm just saying, would you categorize that as a dodge? Would you say she Would you say she kind of ducked and dodged a little bit there?
You know what? She took a bat and smashed it away from herself. Instead of dodging it, she took a bat and smashed it away from herself.
Or maybe she saw the pitch coming. She somehow just stopped time and she walked away from the plate.
Yeah. She did not deal with the question at hand.
Well,
initially she did. I will say initially she did, but again, the question was, you're a progressive and you want to deal with things like our domestic strategy in a progressive way. How does that square with your vote to increase the military budget? She says, yes. If you're asking me, should we cut the military budget? I think yes. But there's something else that we need to talk about. Hold on.
Yeah, it was, but that question was about you. The question was about you.
The contradiction.
How does your vote, how do you reconcile your vote with your progressive values? Your progressive values that say we should kind of get out of these wars.
And
she started talking about conflict of interest,
corruption
of someone else.
Yes.
She started talking about the defense industry.
Yes. How the defense contractors play into
the heart of
the
corruption.
military budget.
That's the heart of corruption. Okay, then, if that's the case, why did you vote to increase their budget?
So she can explain that. Why did you vote to increase the military budget? If it's a problem.
You know what she's doing? She's saying, hey, look, I did vote to increase it, but see, I was trying to, put a leash on it. I was trying to put a leash on them. Yes, I did vote to increase it, but I was trying to fight for progressive values. I was trying to fight. I had to vote to increase it, but, since I criticize it, it's okay. That's essentially what she's saying.
Now, see, if she actually said that, you saw my mouth already. I got a mouth hard to the right.
As long as you call out the corruption, it's okay, right?
But I would still give her a look like that's bullshit. But she didn't even go there. She didn't explain herself, not even in the least. She just said, yes, I think, Elizabeth Warren, we should cut the military budget. Let's move on. No. If you think that right now, why did you vote to increase it in 2017? That's what people want to know and have been wanting to know since 2017.
Wouldn't increasing the budget be a sign that you are apathetic to the corruption?
Yeah. So that's why her words don't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You're aware of the corruption. You're aware of the problem with defense contractors and how, I guess, former executives of defense contractors are in the government. They're being confirmed by the Senate, and you don't think that they should, I guess, be pertinent in matters involving their old companies, but all of that's corruption that you don't want to see, but you're gonna vote to increase the military budget.
There's a bit of plausible deniability she's kind of implementing here, because she mentioned the defense industry, right? When to me that's essentially what governs the entire military. It sounds like she was trying to say that the defense industry just has a hold on the military. So it's fine to vote to fund the military because she's just funding our defense. What she's trying to fight is the defense industry that has a hold on our military. So she's trying to draw a separation here. That's what I think she was trying to get at. She's drawing a separation, so it justifies her voting to increase the spending. And then she can talk about, well, they've just been co-opted by the defense industry. So that's essentially what I think she's doing. She's trying to
But if that's true though, okay, and if you could still sell yourself, yes, it's whack. But if that's true and you can still sell yourself as a progressive on this issue as well, what do you think the military industry is going to do with that money, that increase of spending? I mean, if you could actually remove the corruption from the military with more money, what are they going to do with that money? You say you're about peace. You say about getting us out of these conflicts and stopping wars. And what are they going to do with this money?
Okay, here's the thing. She's a career politician. We just two regular dudes. She's a career politician. We're just two regular dudes, man. She knows that doesn't make sense.
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit,
She's
man.
smart. She's smarter than us, to be honest. Politically, she's smarter than us. She's politically, she's more savvy. That's her job. That's what she does. There's no way she doesn't know that. There's no way in her mind that makes sense.
And though she may not have been expecting that particular question at that particular time, you can't tell me that it's not been discussed with her own team. How she voted in 2017.
Well,
you can't tell me that she's not aware that might be an issue.
No, yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of like, I guess, basic political strategy to just be ready for questions, just to be ready to receive
and questions that might hurt you.
Questions that may hurt you.
Yeah.
Questions on something as general as how you voted. So yeah, I am surprised. She did a good job, but not a good. No, she did a good job, but
At
not
ducking.
a good. She did a good job at ducking, but not a good enough job for us to not see the contradiction.
No, she didn't do a good job at actually answering the question.
So, she cut off? She cut off.
She's the... Well, you know what? Look, we got more. Okay. Before you even asked that, we got more.
Okay.
Before you even asked that. So, according to an NBC News article, Senator Elizabeth Warren has been keeping in touch with Hillary Clinton. Not some different Hillary Clinton. Hillary Rodham Clinton.
See, I thought you were talking about Hillary Patrice Clinton.
No, not that one.
Not that one?
No. HRC. The one that lost to Donald Trump in the 2016 presidential election. Reportedly, they have been in close contact, have shared several substantial conversations with one another. So it's interesting. It has. I don't believe it's been confirmed by her team, or even by Hillary Clinton herself. But as of yet, these reports have not been refuted. If this is true, you would have to wonder, why that is. I would say that this revelation is both surprising and unsurprising. It's surprising given who Elizabeth Warren promotes herself. Excuse me. It's surprising given what or who Elizabeth Warren promotes herself to be, a progressive, a staunch progressive, somebody that is unabashedly progressive. Why would you be in contact while you're running for president now? This isn't like, she's a senator and Hillary Clinton is her friend and blah, blah, blah. And this is something that really isn't even discovered and even, I guess revealed through the media. No, she's a presidential candidate. And she's talking to another former presidential candidate, the former Democratic nominee in 2016. So obviously, this is newsworthy. Why would you be talking to that candidate that is not a progressive at all? So that's where it's the surprising part. But the unsurprising part is, well, that she supported HRC back in 2016. Now, she didn't on the, on the campaign road to the Democratic nomination. She didn't back anybody, which a lot of people were surprised by that because, of course, her and Bernie Sanders were viewed as pretty much one and the same, and she stayed on the sidelines until it was just, the game was over and Hillary Clinton was going to be the nominee. And then she came out very enthusiastic about supporting Hillary Clinton. So that's really like the unsurprising part of it.
I just leave that behind. I don't really hold that against her for remaining neutral. I don't hold that against her. I know some people do, but I don't. But to me, it just looks really weird. It just looks, to me, it's bad optics. To me, if she's running a campaign on, holding the financial sector accountable, holding
Right.
Wall Street accountable, right? And then seeking, I guess, some help, some assistance, or just consulting with Hillary Clinton,
Yeah.
who is kind of the financial sector's protectionist.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's just weird. She's bought by Wall Street, so.
And Elizabeth Warren, we talked about that in 2016, how she took her to task. Hillary Clinton, she took her to task on, how Hillary Clinton, back when she was first lady, was, she was trying to kill something that was good for the banking industry, the bankruptcy bill, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And so she was all with Elizabeth Warren on that initiative, but when she became senator, Hillary Clinton, she was protecting the banking industry at that point, Wall Street.
And it makes sense based on how politics works, because they essentially funded her campaign.
Of course.
So she has to do them a favor and cut them some slack. And so, Elizabeth Warren made light of this, and she was correct.
She was correct.
So if that's the case for Hillary Clinton, wouldn't that be the case for you too? You see what I'm saying? Like, is she not expecting the financial sector to, come calling for their favors after she accepts their money? Is she expecting that that money to come, or this consulting to come, without any kind of payback?
Well, okay, so we saw some reporting from Crystal Ball on the Hill TV. So I just want to play you a clip of her reporting on this issue.
Let's not kid ourselves that there is any policy or campaign advice that Elizabeth Warren is looking to get from Hillary Clinton. No way. She's after something else. Look, Hillary may be incredibly unpopular in the country at large. She may have proven to be a disastrous candidate. But that Clinton machine still has power. Still has power within the media. Just witness Rahm Emanuel on the Sunday shows being rolled out to trash Medicare for all. The media knows Clinton World, and even after an embarrassing defeat, they continue to fill panel after panel with Clinton World acolytes. And Clinton World still has a lot of power, too, with party insiders. Consider those superdelegates who lined up in near lockstep behind Clinton. Now, the DNC has changed the rules such that superdelegates cannot vote on that first ballot. But with such a big field and a fairly even split between the top three, it's not so hard to imagine a brokered convention where superdelegates do become central. And in that scenario, Clinton's support would be key. Clinton could help convince that group of party elites that Warren is a safe consensus choice, a team player, so to speak. Recall that according to Jonathan Martin's reporting over the New York Times, that is exactly the message that Warren herself has been pushing in her aggressive overtures to the Democratic insiders. As you're watching these primaries unfold, be sure to pay close attention to who people rely on for their base of power, who they are in debt to, so to speak, because those are the people who will get their calls answered. Those are the people who will be in position to apply pressure. So Bill Clinton was backed by business interests, and they got NAFTA. W was deeply tied to oil interests, and they got Iraq. Obama was loved by Wall Street, and they got their bailout and no jail time. Or you could take the example that Elizabeth Warren herself proffered about Hillary Clinton on the matter of that bad bankruptcy bill. When she was senator, when she was reliant on Wall Street campaign contributions, she was suddenly able to find a way to support a bill she had once fought to kill. So we'll keep our eye on this latest development. But there's one thing I can tell you for certain. You do not get the benefit of the Clinton machine for free. There is a price.
So I agree with that reporting, her take, her analysis on Elizabeth Warren and this relationship with Hillary Clinton. She talked about the price and who you're indebted to. You can't tell me that 2016, when we did talk about Elizabeth Warren back in Hillary Clinton at the time. Now, back then, of course, we did have some animosity because she did stay on the sidelines. Now, you say you don't hold that against her, in 2019.
We actually thought she was going to run.
Yeah, we thought she was going to run, but she didn't. So she stayed on the sidelines, and then she enthusiastically supported Hillary Clinton. Now, at the time, I remember us thinking that this was a strategic move. This was her, Elizabeth Warren, not wanting to be an outsider, not wanting to be on the outside of the Democratic nominee for president. I want to be in with whoever's going to be that Democratic nominee.
I think I see where you're going. So was her enthusiastically championing Hillary Clinton and backing Hillary Clinton back then a setup for the future? Maybe she was, going to be next in line. Maybe that was the deal right there. But Hillary Clinton lost.
She lost.
So maybe that was the deal. You back me this time. You support me this time.
Yeah.
Very staunchly. And when it's your turn, I will use my, my capital, my political capital for you to help you when you run for president.
There's just too many things that it looks like. It looks like Elizabeth Warren. Almost slipped up there.
Freudian.
It just looks like Elizabeth Warren is phony. We can talk about this whole connection with Hillary Clinton. We can talk about her position or many positions on healthcare and Medicare for all. We can talk about the military budget. It just seems like this is a problem, and actually not a problem. There are multiple problems, and she just continues to, I guess, display herself as a fraud. I'm just not really sure about Elizabeth Warren. And actually, okay, so I guess the question really becomes, what won't she do? What won't she do? She's a progressive, right? What won't she do at this point? So we have a couple clips that tells you what she will do.
I'm just going to be blunt. I do not believe in unilateral disarmament. We got to go into these fights, and we got to be willing to win these fights.
So this just applies to the primary. Like, were you to get the nomination, or anyone else to get the nomination, like, just raise all the money you can, however you can.
Yes.
So does this only apply in the primaries, or will you carry this over to the general election or any other election you'll have going forward?
So this is for primaries. Look, I do not believe in unilateral disarmament. We need a lot of power, a lot of dark money, a lot of super PACs, all to the fight. We play by the same rules. And in that one, I say we got to be all in.
All right. So, the progressive, Elizabeth Warren, during the primaries, she's not taking certain types of money. She's not taking corporate money. She's not taking money from super PACs during the primaries. When it gets to the general and she's the Democratic nominee, let everything flow. I'm taking everything because she doesn't believe what she said. I don't believe in
unilateral disarmament.
I don't believe in unilateral disarmament. That's a very interesting phrase for this particular subject. Usually when you talk about unilateral disarmament, that's like, I'm not going to be the only one to put my gun down.
Exactly. So what is she doing here? Or what is she doing there? She's setting it up to where it's like, hey, all these people taking all kinds of money, man. What do you expect me to do? You want me to win. You want me to beat Trump, right? You want Trump out of office. Well, y'all can't be all pure with where the money comes from, yo. That's essentially what she's saying. She would not say unilateral disarmament if she wasn't trying to put attention on everybody else doing that.
Yep.
That was
everybody else got guns. Everybody else got all these guns loaded
all
with
these
cash.
Weapons. All these weapons.
All these weapons everybody else got.
But look
you
at little
expect
old me. You expect me
not to use the same kind of money. Come on, be serious.
You expect me to not to use nukes too?
So I remember I remember back in 2016. It's funny that we're bringing up Hillary Clinton. I remember in 2016, Hillary Clinton talking about money in politics and how it is corrupting. It corrupts the process.
It was during the debate.
Yes.
It was during the debate.
She has said this many times, but she did say this during a debate too. But she specifically said that money in politics corrupts the process. She said that Citizens United need to be overthrown, or it need to be done away with. Citizens United, right? Okay. So if money corrupts, I remember asking this. You might recall. Who is corrupted?
Who is being corrupted?
Money in politics is corrupting,
then the person who's getting the money is the person that's being corrupted. I remember we were pissed because Bernie Sanders did not call that out during that debate where she said that. We were like, Bernie, dog, like, how do you not?
That was your opportunity.
That was your opportunity.
So if it, again, we apply that to Hillary Clinton at the time. Okay, so again, if money in politics corrupts the process, then that would have to mean that you are the one that's being corrupted by all the money that you take from these corporations and these super PACs. So the same thing, I assume, would apply to Elizabeth Warren here, because she said herself that she's going to take all the money, not going to leave any money on the table. She's taking all of it during the general because she doesn't believe in unilateral disarmament. So how does that make her
unilateral, though?
How does that make her a progressive? How does that make her not in the pockets of these wealthy billionaires that she always speaks ill about, that are corrupt in the United States of America?
But see, if she's talking about unilateral disarmament and only talking about the general election, she would have to be talking about Trump.
Yes, she would.
Because this is not about the primaries. This is about Trump specifically.
Right.
It's kind of like the undertone in all of this. We got to beat Trump. So, hey, anything goes. We got to beat Trump.
There are no rules.
She didn't say that, but since we're talking about the general election here and not talking about the primary, we would have to be talking about Trump and anything being permissible as far as who you take money from, because we got to beat Trump.
That's, anything is permissible, man. That does not sound very progressive. Again, she's trying to showcase herself as a progressive, but doing a very establishment type job at trying to project that image.
One thing,
I'm going to take all the money that Hillary Clinton took, that Joe Biden takes, that Obama took. I'm going to take all the same type of money, but I'm going to be different.
One thing I do disagree with Crystal on is about Hillary Clinton. Is that I don't think Hillary Clinton is unpopular. Hillary Clinton is popular.
True.
She is still popular.
True.
We still see those Clinton holdovers on social media.
I guess
they've now transferred kind of the support they had for Clinton into some other establishment candidates like Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren, Buttigieg, and O'Rourke.
But she is viewed as toxic,
toxic
and divisive. Yes, divisive. She's a very polarizing figure. Yes. She does. Like, I do agree with you though that she does have a tremendous amount of support still.
But her overall point is still solid and still strong. Because what's going to happen if Warren becomes president? Are those party insiders she used, to become president?
Hillary Clinton people.
Are those party insiders going to become party outsiders if Elizabeth Warren wins? They're not going to just go away.
Same as the links to the money that she's going to be taking. That's not going to go away either. Bernie Sanders said this in a debate in 2016. He said, these billionaires and these corporations aren't just giving away money just all willy-nilly just for nothing. They expect something. There's a price. They expect a return. So Elizabeth Warren knows that. Everybody knows that. If they're offering up their millions and, come on, hundreds of thousands, they want something in return. But Elizabeth Warren is going to be different and not placate, not do favors.
She's special, apparently. If you're on social media, it gets quite annoying for people to always hoist her up as being special and being a savior and whatnot. But I think people will believe that. I think people will believe that it will kind of like she won't be affected by it. I think people will buy it. Unfortunately, I think people will buy it.
I I don't know how that's possible.
It's not possible. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't care if people buy it. It's just not possible. That's just not how Washington works, and we know
that's
that.
not how money works.
Yeah,
man.
so
that's not how influence, status works.
All right,
None of that.
I will, since we're kind of done with the clips with Elizabeth Warren, I will.
Oh, you're gonna go back?
I'm gonna go back.
Okay.
I'm gonna do the Dave Chappelle, Whack Arnold's. Remember that one?
Right.
And when he came home, and the chick was tripping.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You're cut off. You're cut off. No more Whack Arnold's, right?"
Yeah.
So is she cut off? Is she cut off? Is she cut off? You cutting her off, man? The McRib coming out next week. Is she cut off? Is she cut off, man?
You know, it's hard to say, man. This is tremendously hard to say, really, because think about it. Okay, so if there's no Bernie, who's the next best candidate? If it's not Elizabeth Warren, and really, okay, and we have to kind of preface this kind of question by maybe just including like the top 8. Because again, like, you know, those lower tier candidates probably not going to get it done because, you know, they're not they're probably not going to be involved in the debates going further. They probably don't have a shot anymore.
So you're taking into account like their viability as well.
Yeah.
You're not just
at this
saying,
point,
hey, I like this person,
right,
so therefore that's going to be my choice.
No.
Well, and your choice should kind of take their viability into account as well. Mm-hmm. And if they're going to be there at the end of the primary.
Right.
So that's a good question because Warren is right behind Bernie.
Right.
And quite frankly, I don't trust her.
No, obviously, I don't trust her at all.
Obviously, I would vote for her over, Trump. Definitely.
Yes, of course.
Definitely.
But where would you put her with, in relation to Kamala Harris?
Kamala Harris, shit.
Because both are shifty. I think it's just like Elizabeth Warren, she still has some of that leftover support that she accumulated years ago. And why in 2016 people wanted to see her run. She was the progressive most people were familiar with and wanted to see run. Not Bernie Sanders because he wasn't really nationally known. It was Elizabeth Warren.
But then she didn't run it. And you said that was her time.
That was her time.
Because she was seen as the progressive.
That was.
But it's like...
Again,
she was seen as the progressive.
But she didn't want to challenge somebody.
She didn't want to challenge She didn't want to challenge anybody.
No, somebody in particular.
Oh, Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
So again, she missed her opportunity. Not only did she miss her opportunity, I think someone who was more progressive pulled up. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, at that time, she was seen as the progressive. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? She was like a Chrysler 300, right?
Right.
And then kind of Bernie showed up, and he was, I don't know, like a Bentley. So he proved to be a better progressive. She would. I can't see. But there's no way she would have challenged. I just don't think there's any way she would have challenged Hillary Clinton.
No, of course, no, she didn't. I think that's written.
If Bernie wouldn't have won, she wouldn't have been up there.
No.
I think that was the plan. Hillary Clinton gets her 8 years, and then you're next after me. It just that to me that makes the most sense considering that she's consulting with Hillary Clinton's insiders right now. So I don't know, man.
I don't know, but
you.
As to your question, cut her off or whatever. Like I said, that's extremely difficult to say because again,
in the primaries,
outside of Bernie Sanders. In those top 8, maybe 10, but I'd really say top 8, maybe even top 5. I don't know, whatever.
Talking about viability, not necessarily who we like the most.
Who comes up under Bernie Sanders?
And like who is polling the best? And who is most likely going to, or who do we most likely have to make our second choice? That's the question. Not necessarily who we like. Who are we going to most likely have to make our second choice?
If you're talking
that's the question.
Now, if you're talking about personally, oh yes, I'm done with Elizabeth Warren. Personally, no, I don't believe.
You got to say it.
Yeah,
you got to say it.
You cut off. Personally, nah. I don't want to have anything to do because I think she's too phony. I've just seen too many things where it's like, nah, man, you could have really standed on principle, but you failed to do so. And the many times that's happened, you have to, you're forced to ask yourself the question, okay, why is this occurring? Why is she responding to these questions like this? Because there's certainly a right way to do it, and she's running away from that for some reason.
You know what her answer about the unilateral disarmament, you know her answer, who her answer reminded me of?
Who?
Howard Dean.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Oh, yes.
That interview he was doing with Bloomberg?
Oh, yes.
And who was doing it?
I can't remember. It was two hosts. Yeah, I can't remember.
I can't remember who was doing the interview. But they asked him about money in politics.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, hey, we're going to take money from whoever we can.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. He said everywhere.
Yep. Take it all.
Take it all.
And that's what Elizabeth Warren intimated, that during the general, I'm open to all money. It doesn't
matter where the money comes from. Wait. Again, there's so many contradictions that, to go over here, but the previous clip, we showed was about what? The military, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she talked about corruption.
Mm-hmm. It's like she's expecting people to forget, like to not connect these two things. I'm gonna take all the money, but that's not connected to corruption. It was the same trick that Hillary Clinton played on people. Yes, money in politics is a problem, but not concerning me. I'm above all that.
Yeah, corruption in the military and the military-industrial complex is a problem, but I can vote to increase the budget. That says nothing about me.
And increase the corruption.
See, you see the
But she's real though. She's real though. The former Republican. She's real. Oh, she's real, man.
This is not no smear. This is not no smear. This is not a smear.
Nah, this is real, man. Let's go to Tulsi. Let's go to Tulsi.
Yeah, let Will.
Like Will go to Tulsi.
Yeah.
This was not actually. This was not something that we had planned to do, but recently just saw the interview that. We recently just saw the interview that Representative Tulsi Gabbard did with Dave Rubin on the Dave Rubin show. Pretty long interview, over an hour. Didn't see it in its entirety, but did see a lot of it. And there were a couple clips that we wanted to highlight and just have some discussions about. So on this first clip, Dave Rubin and Tulsi Gabbard are speaking about liberty, freedom. I guess you could describe it as like your patriotic feelings about America. So here's the clip.
When I was tweeting out that you were coming on, I retweeted one of your last tweets, which was like a 30-second clip where you talked about freedom and liberty and things like that. I love all those words, but those words now have been really associated with the right and not with Democrats. Do you find it odd that, I mean, right in there's a giant American flag in my control room and all of those things, and I've got the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence in there. Like, do you find it odd that it seems that the Democrats aren't embracing those things? There's a weird running from them.
I'm disheartened by it because of all of those who have sacrificed for our freedoms. Just yesterday morning, I went back and read Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address again. That short, I think it was less than 2 minutes, where he very powerfully laid out how best we can honor those who gave their lives on that battlefield to birth a new nation based on those principles of freedom and liberty and equality.
So basically, you got to really pay attention to the way this question was framed.
It was very loaded. It was a loaded question.
Yes. Republicans, conservatives practice their patriotism in a better way.
They're more patriotic. They love the country.
They love the country. Now, Democrats do not embrace patriotism.
Now, Tulsi, tell us why that is.
And she said, yes, I agree. Yeah, I'm disheartened by that. That's what her word was.
Now,
I'm disheartened by that.
I don't actually think she actually believes that, for one. But that's the problem. Because you know what she was doing.
What's she doing, man?
What she's doing is she's playing to the audience that Rave Dubin caters to. Tulsi's smart.
She likes to straddle the fence.
Tulsi is a smart person. I'm not even going to say she's a smart politician. She is a smart person. So she knows what she's doing. So you're not going to tell me she was not aware she was being led into a question. Because that's what that
trapped.
is. And Rave Dubin is really good at that. And you can tell that from the jump. Hey, the conservatives are better and the conservatives are more patriotic. They care about America. And you don't see that amongst the Democrats. I'm like, I'm not about this whole patriotic bullshit. Put your hand on your heart, say the pledge. I'm not about that. But if we're just being objective here, we know that's not true. We know that the Democrats always do this. You know, America the beautiful, America the brave, the Statue of Liberty, the founding fathers. We know they do that virtue signaling too.
So why didn't Tulsi Gabbard state that? Why did she just follow the question and accept the framing of it? Yeah, I'm disheartened by Democrats. Yeah, they don't really exhibit their patriotism.
They hate the troops. That's basically what she said. They hate the troops.
Why should she do that?
No. Now, if you did not know who Dave was interviewing there, and let's say you altered her voice, and you did not know, and you heard that answer, would you think that was a progressive giving that answer? Somebody who was an objective progressive. Would you accept that answer? No, the fuck you wouldn't. But I guess I bet you accept that shit because it came from Tulsi.
But see, look, the framing has a lot to do with how people on the left, and you would probably say progressives on the left,
are perceived.
Yes, and how they have a lot of complaints about the country. They want to reform the country in many, many ways. Somebody like Dave Rubin is an objection to a lot of these reforms, a lot of these proposals. He would claim that a lot of this is unpatriotic. So that is what is leading this question. People like you that claim that they are progressive, they aren't really patriotic. Like, why is that? Oh, yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's really disheartening. I don't know, man. But she's not phony. She's not phony, though. Okay, so let's get to the next clip. So in this next clip, same interview with what you said, Rave Dubin.
Yeah.
Same interview. So they discuss immigration. Can't wait to see how this goes.
So immigration, I think there's a general sense that the candidates, the Democrats, are basically trying to outdo each other for open borders, something like that. A, do you think that's a fair way to start the question? And B, where do you sit on that?
I don't support open borders. Without secure borders, we don't really have a country. And while some of the other Democratic candidates will say, well, open borders, that's a conservative argument, and that's not really what's being advocated for. If you look at the practical implications of some of the things they're pushing for, it is essentially open borders. I think there's a few things that we've got to do when we're talking about immigration reform. One is we've got to have secure borders. This is not Trump's wall from sea to shining sea. It's about seeing, again, what makes sense. You know, I look at things from a practical, objective-oriented standpoint. I'm a soldier, so I look at what's our objective? Secure the borders. In some places, it may make the most sense to have a wall or some kind of physical barrier in place. In other places, it won't make sense. So you use technology and use all the other tools that we have ultimately to accomplish that objective of security at the borders.
Wait, let me pause you there. So is the problem, though, just from that starting point, which seems so obvious? I think the average person watching this is going, of course, countries exist because there are borders.
Yeah.
But even that starting point, you're going to get people that are further to the left of you going, well, there's some level of racism or xenophobia there, or, I mean, there's always that subtext to this conversation.
Which is, I think it's a big problem because it takes away from, again, be very clear-eyed and pragmatic and practical about this. If you want to advocate for open borders, that's fine. Stand on that platform, make that argument, and have your facts and your evidence to back it up. I don't believe that's smart. I think that our country needs secure borders, just like we need to reform our completely broken immigration system.
Yo, so
Wait.
I just want to let y'all know. See? If you could see the the uncut, the background, why you can't see us watching watching these clips, it's pretty animated. I lost my pen.
Yo, Mug, dude, he just slammed his pen down.
I lost my pen. I ain't got my pen no more. Mike is almost out the chair.
You know how like when you like a little kid and you on a long trip, you know what I'm saying, on a road trip and you gotta pee and you wait for that rest stop,
man.
And your legs is just like vibrating and shit.
Yeah,
that's how. Whoa.
So, again, the subject about immigration, the subject of immigration, is framed by Dave Rubin as open borders. Is it fair? He asked, is it fair to, I guess, describe it as that, to lead with that? She said, I think it's fair. I think it's fair. She said what the Democrats, if you actually analyze what some of the things that Democrats want to do, it's essentially open borders. Then she goes into stating what she believes is smart policy. Yeah, having some structures where it's I guess where it's smart,
reinforcing existing parts of the fence.
Yeah, but where it doesn't
filling
make sense,
some gaps.
Yeah, where it doesn't make sense to have structures, then yeah, we don't need to do that. Where you can use technology and drones and this and that, manpower, this and that, whatever. That's exactly the Democratic position. Exactly. She said no, not Trump's wall. That's exactly the Democratic position. That is the exact reason why the government was shut down for weeks, because the Democratic Party wouldn't budge. They wouldn't cave in to Trump's demands for billions of dollars for a damn wall. That's the reason. Tulsi Gabbard is in the same mind frame as all of these other Democrats, but she describes their thoughts on this issue as open borders. She describes what they want to do as open borders. Tell me how that is not disingenuous as hell. There is no Democratic politician that advocates for open borders. Not one.
Meaning the free pass. People freely passing from one country to another.
Has anybody said, you know what, these points of entry, do away with those? We don't need those anymore.
Nah, I don't believe so.
So a progressive like Tulsi Gabbard, like Tulsi Gabbard, why wouldn't she push back on this framing of the question? Open borders. Hey, hold on. Open border. Ain't nobody for open borders. Nobody is trying to sing about open borders. Nobody is trying to promote open borders. It's not open borders. What we're trying to do is, and exactly what she said, we need structures where it's sensible. We don't need structures where it's not sensible. We need to use technology. And why didn't she say that?
You know what was even more disingenuous? Is how she tried to say that, and this open borders narrative, that's not a conservative talking point.
Oh gosh.
Why would she feel the need to say that? Why would she feel the need?
Because she wasn't asked. She wasn't asked.
You know why? Because she knew it was.
And she knows her audience.
She knew it was a conservative talking point, but she knows what show she's on, and she knows what kind of audience Dave Rubin caters to. So she has to say that, because Dave Rubin's entire show is about making his viewers and people who listen to his show feel good about believing a certain ideology. So he has to get his audience to believe that their ideology and what they believe is like not exclusive to them, because it makes them feel better about believing it. So that's why Tulsi Gabbard has to say, that's not a conservative talking point. It is. Now, if you were really a progressive, not only would you have pushed back against that loaded question, you would have talked about, our foreign policy and how that contributes to migration and people seeking asylum, how we destroy countries. If she was going to be a true progressive, she would have kind of took it there instead of go along with how Dave Rubin framed the question in a way that was very toxic, and not just toxic, but that was essentially propaganda. She played a part in spreading propaganda on Dave Rubin's show. And if you look at all the other guests that Dave Rubin has had on his show, then you would know what kind of agenda he is trying to push. And I'm very disappointed in how Tulsi Gabbard handled herself.
I think there are some people that will probably assert that she was tricked.
Nico House?
That, hey, she got led down this road. It was a phony framing job. It was a toxic framing job.
It was a framing job. She was led into it.
Yeah, and she just got trapped, and that's how.
Well, then she don't need to be in politics then. If she's gonna be tricked like that, I'm sorry.
I don't think she was tricked.
She was not tricked. My man Nico House, bro. I'm gonna be expecting a serious analysis on this. We don't really talk about other progressive hosts like this, but we know how much he likes Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, I don't talk to him as much as I used to, because I used to trade messages back and forth with him. But I would really love to see what he has to say about this, specifically knowing his connection to her. Knowing that she is, taking some advice from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really interested in what he has to say about he already made a video because he's always on top of this. But
there was one other thing that I didn't actually say about her on the other the first clip that we showed about patriotism and liberty, freedom, and she talked about Abraham Lincoln. And she talked about the Gettysburg Address, and she talked about how he talked about honoring the those lives that were lost on a battlefield and blah blah blah, liberty and all of this stuff, right? And that annoys me. That really does annoy me.
Why? Why does that annoy you?
Because too often Abraham Lincoln is held up as like the mantle. Like held up as like what's right, the best president. He was for everybody. He's the one that got rid of slavery. He's the one that saw everybody as equals. That is absolute horseshit.
Because people are assuming because those against slavery saw black people as equals, and that's not correct.
No, that's not correct. He viewed black people as very different and did not want them to live with white people. He wanted them to be very separate from white people. Now, the whole slavery argument as well. Yeah, this Gettysburg Address might sound all well and good. Does anybody remember the inaugural address? Like his first address once he became the president of the United States? And how he had a specific message for the southern states. And that message was, I'm not coming for you.
As long as you don't do what?
Leave the Union, pretty much.
Yeah, but what's the second? Expand.
Yeah, expand slavery. Yeah. But the institution of slavery was going to be preserved in these southern states. He was not challenging their institution of slavery. He wasn't going to do a damn thing about it. So this whole notion that Abraham Lincoln was just good and a moral guy and didn't believe in slavery and was interested in justice and liberty and freedom for all falls flat on its face. So Tulsi Gabbard using that reference, you miss me with that.
Actually, I'll go further than you were going. It's not just Lincoln that I don't like that people do that, to. I don't like when people do that to Lincoln. I don't like when people hearken back to some figure in the past as if they are some beacon of morality that we should follow. I actually don't like it when they do it to any of the forefathers. Actually, I don't like when people revert back to the founding fathers as some sort of individuals we should look to go forth in this current time period. We should look back to them and look at what they wanted. So why are people always referencing them? I don't like any of them, actually. I don't like going back that far. I just don't like that because they were seriously problematic.
Of course.
They were seriously problematic, and they essentially built this country on a contradiction, on a major contradiction. So I just don't like it when people kind of revert back to those figures as people we should look to move forward in this current day and age, or people we should look to for our moral center. I think looking back at all those people essentially proves to me that you have a problematic worldview. You know what I'm saying?
If you're going to that reference point,
if that's your reference point with all these problematic figures,
then you're not seeing the world the way it should be. No. All right, so let's move on. Let's go to the Nipple.
Yay! Yay! I guess you would call this the fun story.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the nipple story.
Yeah.
It's not about Janet Jackson.
Wardrobe malfunction. Yeah. That we missed. Remember that? We missed it. Remember that?
Was that the boring Super Bowl?
No, that was
Carolina.
Carolina.
That was Carolina Super Bowl.
And in New England.
In New England.
Missed it. Yeah. Anyway, that's another story. Free the nipple. That is what 3 New Hampshire women are asking the U.S. Supreme Court to do in challenging a city ordinance that bans women from being topless. The women claim that the ordinance violates the Constitution by treating men and women differently. So this is from NBC News. The case began in 2016 when Ginger Piero did her yoga exercises topless at a lakeside beach in Laconia and was arrested for violating the city ordinance banning public nudity, including the showing of the female breast with less than a fully opaque covering any part of the nipple. 3 days later, 2 other women, Heidi Lilly and Kia Sinclair, went to the same beach and went topless to protest the arrest. They too were charged with violating the nudity law. All 3 challenged their convictions but lost in the New Hampshire courts. Now they're asking the Supreme Court to hear their appeal when the court's new term begins in October. So the New Hampshire Supreme Court rejected their argument by saying that the law does treat men and women differently, and that the traditional understanding of nudity, or what constitutes nudity, is women's breast. So I guess they are justified in treating men and women differently, and a man can expose his chest while a woman can't because of that traditional understanding of what is nudity. Now, this has caused, or their appeal of this, their whole case against this city ordinance has caused a decision in another state. So in February, the Federal Appeals Court in Denver, Colorado, is for the 10th Circuit. They struck down a topless ban in Fort Collins, which is near Denver. So, and I guess the reasoning why they struck it down, they said that they found no justification for treating men and women differently. The court said, society sexualization, quote, has ingrained in the U.S. the stereotype that the primary purpose for women's breast is sex, not feeding babies. So they said that the stereotype, quote, serves the function of keeping women in their place, end quote. Which I think is the right way to rule in this matter. Look, if there's I guess there's a conversation that can be had about what is sexual, what is not. Like, and that just depends on somebody's opinion of what is sexual, what is not. What is nudity and what is not, really. Because some people view legs as nudity. I don't want to see that. You got to cover those things up. Arms, all of that,
Some
right?
countries have, like, nude beaches.
Exactly. So there's a conversation that could be had about that. But when you're talking about a legal conversation, I don't understand how legally a court could rule that a man could expose their body, but a woman couldn't. A woman couldn't.
I think it is
legally.
Hard, it is hard to make that argument. The problem I have with the conversation is that I think all parties should be honest about it, because if you can't say, well, the woman's body has been sexualized, but because yes, it has.
Yes, it has.
But
is that their fault? I mean, like,
but we can't deny that the body itself is an apparatus we use for sexual gratification.
Okay, yes.
So both men's and women's bodies essentially naturally are sexualized.
Is it a man's chest sexualized?
And it is. It is sexualized, but not sexualized in the same way.
Right.
So I just think that we are sexual beings, and I think we should be honest about that. And so we look at each other, whether it be men looking at men, women looking at women, women looking at men, men looking at women. We do that because we do have a sex drive, and part of that sex drive has to do with body parts. Now, we can be honest with that. Now, the problem is only seeing each other for that. That's where the problem comes in. So we can't abandon that simply because we don't want to view ourselves in a vacuum, a sexual vacuum. You can't sit there and act as if it has nothing to do with sex at all. I think that's a bit disingenuous. But to say it only has to do with sex and our bodies and only have to do with sex, then we're getting into a very toxic conversation. We're getting into a toxic place. But I'm glad the story mentioned breastfeeding too. Because there's obviously different purposes.
Right, of course. But
for a breast. But since we're talking about, since this is Tittygate, since this is Tittygate, we're talking about breasts.
But really think, because
that's what
when you see multiple places across the country and across the world, specifically at beaches, specifically at spring break festivities, clubs, you see best body competitions. You see men and you see women. Compete in these competitions.
Yeah, we've been to clubs.
Yes, of
where
course.
They would have wet t-shirt contests, whipped cream contests.
Right.
I know it's weird, but a lot of the times we thought it was whack.
Yeah, most of the times it was whack. Most of the times it was whack. But with the men had their shirts off. Now, the women in the crowd would be hooting and hollering because they liked what they saw. That was sexualized.
They like man titties too.
Yes, of course. So that was sexualized. They liked what they saw. Again, now, when it came to the women, either they had to be in a t-shirt or they had to be in a bikini top. And that was sexualized. Now, tell me now, I'm talking legally. How could you say that the women cannot have their tops off given that kind of circumstance, but the men have a right to?
We're trying to be objective here. We're trying to be objective. We're not like it's not like
no. I can't wait. No, it's not that. I'm talking about legally. I understand that most of the society, I would probably say most of the society here in the United States of America are prudes. Probably most of the society is prudes. And I think also, I don't think this goes for all women or even most women. I think most women would not partake in this endeavor. I don't think most women would be like, it's
no,
legal?
we can have our boobies out
I can
now.
have my boobies. Okay,
well,
I'm gonna do it. No, I don't think most women would do it. But again, legally, I don't think there is anything I don't think you can make your case legally that prevents women the opportunity to expose their breasts if you are allowing men to do the same thing. Again, societally, it's a conversation, definitely. You can say that, a woman's body, their bare breasts compared to a man's bare breasts, that's nudity, but that's not really nudity. That's been accepted for many different years and generations, but that has never really been accepted. So we are in a place where this is not accepted and that is, but legally, can you make the case why that should be the norm? Can you make the case legally why a woman can't do that?
I can't make
legally.
The case. I can't make the case. And and because this surrounds men. This surrounds men.
You know it is.
It surrounds men and whatever men are ready for. But actually, I kind of want to change the conversation to what are women ready for? Completely take men out of the conversation.
Okay.
What are women ready for? Would even women be ready for something like that? Because again, some women will be, but that comes at a price. That would come at a price. You would have to then be comfortable as a woman at people looking at you, both men and women. That would have to be a requirement if we go forth with society where women just have their titties flopping out. That I'm not being harassed, but you would. What are you going to say? You're going to have a law? Hey, you can have your boobies out, but we gotta prevent people from looking at your boobies.
But see,
that would be very tough law.
I think the women that would engage in this don't care. I don't think they would care. No, I really don't, because look, no matter if check this out. No matter if a woman has a bikini top, a long skirt, short skirt, Daisy Dukes, it doesn't matter what they have on. Men will look. Does not matter what they have on. If they can see
turtlenecks.
Yes, it does not. If you can see the outline of a body, of a body part,
turtleneck,
yes, you will be looked at. It will be gawking. It will be all of this. Okay, if they have their their breast exposed, of course, it will add much more to that conversation. I mean, you will have more attention drawn your way, but I think that would just be until it is accepted socially.
True.
Like in society.
Again, and that's cool. But what I don't want people to like do is disingenuously act as if like our bodies, regardless of men and women, are not sexual objects. That's what I hate. Like, don't act like it's
No,
not.
they are. Yeah,
like,
they are.
stop acting
No,
like
of course
it ain't. They are. Like, both men and women know that. That's why women like to wear the stuff out because they know it attracts, men.
No.
I mean,
that's the whole reason why on Halloween.
Come on now.
Halloween.
It's okay. I don't care. Wear what you want to wear.
It's cold on Halloween sometimes. It's very cold, especially at night. And if you're around the clubs at Halloween, you will see many females, many women with some skimpy costumes on.
Like, of course, it's the most popular is always the sexy nurse.
Of course.
Or like the little, the sexy cat.
Yes.
Sexy kitten.
Yes. Now, it's cold, but they don't care because they want to show off their body. No, we know that bodies are sexual objects.
And we know
of course
people,
right.
both men and women, essentially wear things kind of to either draw attention to themselves.
Of course.
It's not just because they like it. And I'm fine with that. I just wish people would be honest with that. Like when a dude wears like a muscle shirt because he likes to show off his muscles, he's doing that because he wants to show off his muscles. That's fine.
Right.
When he wears a midriff to show off his abs, he's doing that because he wants to show off his abs.
Right.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if a chick wants to go with the triple threat, legs, stomach, and breast. My bad, quadruple threat. Legs, stomach, chest, and shoulders.
Right.
That's her business. But like, I wish people would be honest about that. Like, it's like, you're doing it for attention, that's fine. Because those things are essentially, draw attention and draw eyes, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I just wish more people would be honest about that, whatever clothing they choose to wear, both men and women. Like, because the thing is, if you're really doing that for yourself, you get your ass ready, right? You do your hair, you do your makeup, you put on all your clothes, you put on your muscle shirt, or you put on your muscle pants, or whatever is going to show your stuff off. You put on your low-cut shirt, or you put on your midriff so you can show your stomach, or you put on your whatever shoulderless outfit. Show everything. Put on everything. Get all ready, get all done up, and you would stay your ass at home, and you look at your ass in the mirror.
Yeah.
If it was for yourself. I just wish people would be more honest about why
I think people do like attention.
And that's fine.
They do like attention.
And I'm fine with that.
But see, the subject here, the whole reason why this is really a subject here is because how do people perceive the female body compared to the male body? Like,
true.
The female body is more associated with beauty. Like, oh, that is a beautiful object. Look at the curves and look at all that's beautiful. A man's body, women, they like a man's body, but is it something that's like really coveted? I'm talking about in the same way that a female's body is.
See, I don't think I am in a place to talk about that. Now, I will say, well, maybe I am because of work I do. Most of the stuff I thought about what women thought was just kind of theoretical. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not in, women's locker rooms.
Right.
Women tend to be more open about things when they're around each other, just like men do. So even like when I'm around my female friends, I'm still truly not getting everything from them.
Right.
Because that's just how it is. But see, I do Uber though, see? And so I tend to disappear.
Oh, okay.
I tend to disappear. People tend to be more comfortable. I hear shit. They talk about shit, especially when chicks get in the car about stuff. I'm starting to figure out that there's not a lot of difference. I'm starting to figure out just based on what I've heard, and I know I've probably met in a year and a half, probably over 10,000 different people, 70% of those people being women. And they all seem to their views about men seem to mirror like men's views about women as far as superficially. The superficial ideas about like bodies and sex and shit, there's not a lot of difference.
All right, answer this.
There's not a lot of difference.
Answer this. Do you believe it's the same with men? No. Do you think it's the? Hold on.
Okay.
Do you think it's the same with men and women, given the priority they place on the body.
Okay,
the
maybe
priority they place on the body.
I think the way men have been in control of society and constructed society to control women and to create a situation where women are second-class citizens. I mean, there was a time in history where like you would actually buy a woman to marry. You know what I'm saying? That's where the whole concept of men paying for dates comes from. Because essentially we would buy our damn wives from some dude. We'll buy a daughter. So I think this conversation, we can't have this conversation without talking about like a male-driven societies, constructing situations where we do talk about sex in a certain way. You see what I'm saying? So we're talking about, I guess, social constructs here, and we're not talking about the situation outside of those social constructs. That's why it's hard to have these conversations. And if you say whether something is the same or not, I can't give you an answer without talking about the social construct. Social construct out of the picture, I'm saying it's the same based on what I hear, what I've heard from women. And like I said, just from me working around women for almost 16, 17 years, at the place I used to work at was like 90% women. And when you are just laid back and when you just talk to people, you tend to disappear and they tend to get comfortable around you, and you start to hear things and you start to kind of witness and observe the things they say and how they approach situations. And from what I have seen and what I have observed, not just at my old job, but this new job where I actually come in contact with more people, they say some of the same things that men say about women. I'm saying that.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, even though it's
not convinced. Not convinced. I'm not convinced.
So you don't
not convinced.
you don't think women say some of the same things as far as sexualizing men that men do women. Now, obviously, with men, like in a lot of situations,
not to the same degree, though.
But see not to the same degree because it comes under a different context. Because there's maybe some other things that you would typically have to worry about when it comes to a man, essentially, because living or internalizing. Like centuries of the social construct that involves women as second-class citizens or placing women in second-class citizenship. You know what I'm saying? So we're dealing with that too. We're dealing with that mindset. Like completely getting rid of that, I would have to say it's the same. I don't know. Completely eliminating misogyny from the situation, it's the same. It's just hard to talk about these things without talking about misogyny.
It seems as though, for me and what I've experienced and just what I see, it seems as though women are more so, they're more so liable to be okay with a lackluster man's physical condition. That's what I see. That's what I see. That's just what I see.
But see, what you're doing is you are like attributing some sort of virtue to that.
Yeah.
Like, but see, there's some, again, like, okay. So when I say it's the same, I mean that it could be the same. It just may materialize or manifest differently. Because when you're talking about men, right, you're talking about dealing with people on a superficial level. Oh, like men, like judge looks too much. That could be true. Because maybe we are still instinctually looking for some sort of person to carry our babies. So we're like these biological instincts. Right. Oh, well, look at her hips. Can she bear children? Is she healthy? So maybe that's just like, some sort of instincts that we are still governed by. Is that superficial? Maybe. But then how it manifests in women it manifests differently. The superficialness just manifests differently. That superficialness manifests in like looking for someone who is strong, right? Right, preferring someone who is strong and tall. That's superficial. You would not believe some of the things I hear women say. If I had a dime for every time a woman said like, "Oh, he's under 5'7", that's it. I can't do it."
True.
You see what I'm saying? That's an immutable characteristic that's based on something superficial. Do men worry about that? No. Men don't worry about that. All I'm saying is the same thing. It just manifests differently. That's why I say it's the same.
But check this out, right? Just based on what you believe and what you've heard, what is the natural reaction, or what's the most most, I guess, the most regular reaction to a dick pic. Exactly.
No, but baby, looking at it though, it'd be like, ew. Oh my God. Oh. Is that a that's what they be doing.
Now, if it's a dick you know,
they be doing that shit.
If it's a dick you know, then yeah, they probably be fine with that. If it's a dick they know,
you know what?
Then they may be like, oh, okay, I'm into this.
I will say that is true.
That's true.
I will say, I'm not saying I have experience, but I'm just saying. They do react differently if it's a dick.
Of course, but if it's some unexpected dick, no, that junk is hideous. They don't want no part of that. But if it's some unexpected breast or other body parts, an ass or something like that on a woman, oh please, that's not hideous, man. Nobody. No, I can't. Why'd you send this to me?
You know what?
Never.
Oh, true that. You know what? You know, like when you go out, right? You know, you see chicks playing around with each other.
Yeah.
There is kind of that. There is credence to that because I always see chicks. These are not like these are straight het chicks.
Right.
These are straight het chicks. They be playing around with each other. You know, smacking each other booties.
Right.
Go girl, look at your booty. Like, yeah, bounce that booty. You know, be just like egging each other on. Do dudes do that?
No.
Do dudes do that to each other? No, I swear to God, if you ever did that to me, dog, we're not hanging out, bro. I'm sorry. Nah, dog.
That'd be like 400 lines
club,
across,
man. If you was in the club and you say, yo, Mike, bounce that ass, bro. Bounce that ass, son. Yeah, I'm like, nigga, wait.
No, like, the only reason it is acceptable to even tap another man's butt is in sports. That's it. I don't know why, but that's what happens.
Yeah,
man.
Dudes don't be in the club like yeah, dude, making twerk. Like dudes just don't do that.
Nah.
So I can see that. I think there is a connection to what you were talking about there.
Yeah.
Where we do view bodies differently.
Yeah.
And women view women's bodies differently.
They do.
Men view men's bodies and vice versa.
And that's true. That's true.
This went somewhere a while.
Yeah, I didn't expect this conversation to go this long.
I did not expect this conversation. We're just going to talk about Tittygate. That's all we were going to talk about. That's really all we were going to talk about. This particular city not really having a legal argument to make, and they were caught in court proceedings.
Yeah.
What did it say? Like $300,000? The city has spent $300,000 trying to fight it?
That's right. Yeah.
That's essentially what we wanted to talk about. I don't know how it got here, but it did.
But anyway, the U.S. Supreme Court is due to decide if they're going to hear the case in October. So we will find out if they'll take the case and these women can be heard. Honestly, I think justice would look like they're able to do it. Like I said, I don't think there is a legal argument that can preclude anybody from exposing their chest, be it a man or a woman. If it's acceptable for a man, I don't see how you make it unacceptable for a woman. I don't think there's any ground legally to make that argument. Now, as a parent, you could be like, hell no. No, you ain't doing that. Female daughter. No, I said female daughter.
That's
I know. Redundant. But yeah, daughter, no, you're not doing that because I know what the world is. No, hell no, I can't take that risk.
I think there is definitely an argument to be made. We cannot deny that there is like an elevation in hormones.
Right.
At certain ages.
Right.
And whether like young people will be able to handle it. But I think young people being able to handle that has to do with the society they grow up in.
Right.
And I guess it's not an easy solution because we have mixed generations. We're always living in a mixed generation. I think that's the problem. Mm-hmm. So it would definitely have to start early.
Right.
And maybe if we do start early, there wouldn't be a big problem, or it wouldn't be a huge problem dealing with them when they go through puberty.
The case
it would be more normalized.
The case in Colorado that city ordinance was overturned. It deals with females over the age of 10.
Ooh.
So if you're over the age of 10, you're able to expose your chest. I was like, damn, that's pretty young. But I was like, I mean, it makes sense. But, like if you're gonna allow males to do it, then it makes sense. But it's uncomfortable at this point. It's uncomfortable for a lot of people.
The fact that it's allowed for men and not allowed for women, it just says more about men.
Yeah, it does.
Right, because again, it's essentially these laws are made by men.
You know it.
And I think that has to do with, I guess, men knowing that they're fucking predators. I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
That has to do with men knowing that they're fucking predators and not being comfortable with that.
And they have to take steps to protect women.
And they have to to protect themselves.
Oh.
It has nothing to do with women. It has to do with protecting themselves.
That's probably more true. Yeah,
it has something to do with protecting themselves for being exposed to that. They don't want to. No, men don't want to be exposed to that because they're fucking predators.
Protect themselves from feeling a certain type of way where
Protecting
they
themselves
might
want to assault somebody,
Yeah.
and they know, and so that's why it's not the same for men because they know women, ain't gonna be like, trying to like jump on men's backs and shit.
True, doesn't happen, too often.
Doesn't.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up, and we're gonna go on to the call-in portion of the show. So we're gonna take just a short break, just about 30 seconds to a minute, and when we come back, we will open the phone line so that you can get involved in the conversation. Anything that you have as a comment, maybe you have a question, you're free to do so. So we'll be right back in just a minute. All right, we are back, and we are ready for you to join the conversation. So, the number to call in if you would like to be heard on the show is 669-900-6833. Is it? Okay, all right, just want to make sure no music is being played. But yeah, let me set this up so that we can welcome callers onto the program. Hope that we have some callers tonight. It's been 3 weeks, so maybe I'm assuming you have a lot to say. Maybe about some things that we haven't been able to cover during these 3 weeks, man. It's been a long time. Hurricane Dorian just tore the Bahamas to shreds. We saw that. A lot of Trump news, things like that. Damn, I'm using the wrong damn. There we go. All right. See if I remember how to work this thing. All right. I think we are good to go. All right. Oh yeah, just to let everybody know, before we take any calls too, this is not going to be a regular week. The debate is on Thursday night.
Almost forgot.
So we're not going to do a show on Thursday night. I got to go to kids' school anyway for something.
Gotta be responsible, Dad.
Yeah, I gotta show up for some of the things,
man.
I'm saying. I'm saying, like,
I gotta show up for some of the stuff.
Like during the day, it's cool. Especially like field trips. I'm free to do that some of the times. But at night, Tuesday and Thursday night, we're here. So a lot of things happen at night. Meetings and things like that, and I can't go because I'm here. But I want to show up on this Thursday. And like I said, it worked out because of the debate on Thursday. So we're gonna do a show on Friday night, and that will be to cover the previous night's debate. It'll probably be probably about 6 o'clock, 6:15, maybe something like that.
And you know what I'm suspecting? The people who aren't included will kind of probably have their responses.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because they said they're not bowing out. Like Tulsi's not bowing out.
Not bowing out.
I think
true.
she will have a response
Yeah.
to whatever is talked about at the debate.
There's still like 20 candidates or so, something like that.
Yeah, only half of them qualify for the debate.
So, so we'll have a lot to talk about on Friday, but just want to let you know. We'll remind you at the end of the show as well, and we will definitely say or let it be known on Thursday. No show tonight. We'll have a show on Friday. So, just wanted to let you know that. And also, since we were talking about the debates too, huge news. What's his name? You know what? Damn. He's so important. I forgot his name. Damn it. Guy from Starbucks. Schultz. Howard. Howard Schultz. He's so important. He bowed out.
Oh, didn't he have some back issues too?
Yeah.
Some back issues?
Yeah, Howard Schultz bowed out. He said he didn't want to do anything to jeopardize Trump being reelected. That's what he bowed. Yeah. That's why a lot of people didn't want you to run as an independent to take away votes, but you were like, you don't care. Because you wanted
somebody who was more moderate. You didn't want this socialism.
You wanted a centrist, yes. But I guess he has that in Biden now, so that's why he feels comfortable. All right, so we'll get to the first caller on the show. And that's coming from the 224 area code. Caller, you're on the air live with LTMB. Very good. We appreciate that, Tony. Can't hear.
Lisa says she can't hear. Oh, no. Some people can, some people have. Some people can hear shit.
Hold on. Look, I don't want to I don't mean to interrupt you, Tony, but hold on. We're having some audio issues where the it looks like the audience can't hear you. So let's see what we can do so that they can. I don't see anything that is running improper or anything. We did have those issues at the beginning.
Yeah, we had some audio issues before we came on that was weird, and it just.
But we didn't restart this program. I wonder if that had something to do with it. Let me hold on. There's gonna be Tony. You're still gonna be able to hear us, but we're gonna have to interrupt the broadcast real quick. It's gonna cut off just for maybe about 30 seconds to a minute, but we're gonna come right back on with Tony. All right, so don't be alarmed. The stream is gonna pause or be buffering for a little bit, but we're gonna come right back on. All right. Let's see. All right, Tony, say something for us.
Okay, how about now? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I think we're good now. Yeah, we're good. So yeah, it was that we had to restart the software. That's why it wasn't catching you.
So everybody in the chat, can y'all hear Tony?
Hey, everybody, can you hear me now?
All right, they can hear you now.
They can hear you. Thank you. Yeah, that was what it is.
All right,
man.
great.
Had to restart.
All right, go ahead, Tony.
All right, yeah. So anyway, like I said, I love listening to you guys. You guys do great work. I've missed you guys' show for the last few weeks, and there's been so much going on. I really love your work, and I would really love to see you guys get with Tim Black at some point. I don't know if y'all have ever had a crossover event with him, but I think you guys would be just I think that would be the bomb, man. I think y'all be great.
We know who Tim is. We actually met him in Philadelphia.
Right,
2016.
Yeah.
So probably has a video on Facebook or something. I'm sure, but.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did some streaming. Well, he was recording.
Yeah, he was recording. So it's probably on his page or our page or whatever.
Yeah.
But we don't really talk to him that much. But yeah, we kind of pay attention to him.
I'll definitely go back and look and see if I can find it in the archives then, because that looks real good. Well, here's the thing. I'm listening to Elizabeth Warren. I'm seeing her rise in the polls. I do not understand why Americans are so dumb. I swear to God, I don't get it. You got Bernie Sanders, the real deal. My God, he is the real deal. Everybody went ape crap for Obama and how Obama was going to change the world and he was going to be the answer. And here's this man who's been, living out in the wilderness for 40 years. He's been talking the same stuff. Everybody knows he's sincere. Everybody knows he's smart. Everybody knows he works hard. He believes every word he says. And why would you settle for a Joe Biden? Why would us black people especially, why would we ever pass on a guy who went to jail for our people? Why would we ever pass on a guy who walked with Martin Luther King? Why would we pass on a guy who all he wants to do is help the poor and underrepresented in the country? That's us. That's us. And to hear Elizabeth Warren try and ape his stuff is just maddening. Absolutely maddening, because that woman has no backbone. She has no spine. She will fight for nothing except for herself. That's what I got out of that 2016 election cycle. She's all about herself. She has no real interest in anybody besides herself. Anybody who says, oh, but she's got a plan. Well, Bernie had a plan first, and his plan's been there for almost 40 damn years.
Look at your what you're comparing though, because you were comparing how people responded to Barack Obama when he was running for president, and how, there was just a swelling of support. There was some grassroots support, no doubt. Obama definitely used online, the internet to garner a lot of support, a lot of good fundraising numbers, this and that. And he did campaign on hope and change and progress and all of this. But if you really look at who he was an establishment candidate. He was the Wall Street candidate. He fundraised just like everybody else did. Money in politics wasn't really an issue. So how much was he changing the game? Bernie Sanders is his policies and his attitude, his ideology. What he actually wants to do would be a game changer. He would significantly change things in this country. And that's something that not just Republicans disagree with, but a lot of Democrats disagree with that as well. So it's a totally different dynamic, Obama and Bernie Sanders. Obama may have ran on it just stylistically and verbally, but Bernie Sanders is actually about that life. I saw a Elizabeth Warren, because you mentioned Elizabeth Warren. I saw a Emma Vigeland from TYT. She was at a rally of Elizabeth Warren's, and she was talking to some of the audience, people that I guess support Elizabeth Warren or at least there to hear more from Elizabeth Warren. And she was just trying to ascertain if they liked Bernie Sanders or not, what were their feelings about Bernie Sanders. And what struck me is that a lot of them were saying, well, Bernie Sanders, pretty much that he was old news, and how 2016, he really did a lot of damage to the party in 2016. It was really contested.
Really dumb reasons.
Yes, it was completely ridiculous reasons. And that's really where they coming from it. If they like Elizabeth Warren, and this was posed to one of them at least, if you like Elizabeth Warren, somebody who is always tied to her and her policies is Bernie Sanders. So why wouldn't you like Bernie Sanders? And the reasoning is, well, he was back there in 2016, and I think his time. We need something new.
I think those
blah,
are
blah,
just
blah.
excuses.
It is.
Those sound like excuses to me.
It is.
But as far as Obama
very
goes,
shallow.
Yeah.
Very shallow analysis.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
But maybe that's the problem. I think that shallowness crosses ethnicities. That's one thing we have to realize, that how people engage politics in that shallow way crosses ethnicities. And maybe people's political discernment is very low as well. But if you're talking about why people are drawn to a candidate, you know it's on a superficial level. You know what I'm saying? So like we can't ignore
I get that.
So it's like, and I think it's a little bit difficult for people to be able to connect, I guess, the problems that they see in the world and the problems that they know the world has. It's hard for them to connect that and fixing those things to a particular platform, a particular person. Whether it's hard or whether it's they don't really actually care about that and more care about who they can superficially connect to, I don't know which it is. It might be a little bit of both. It might be a little bit both. Maybe it's hard for people to basically connect the issues they see in the world with a particular platform, with a particular candidate, and actually look at what that candidate represents and whether that candidate can legitimately change those things, rather than looking at that candidate to relate to. And I think that's where most people kind of draw the line. Like, hey, like how can I relate to this particular person? It's more of like a personal thing, like on a personal level. That's why they can invent those excuses. Oh, he's old news. He's too old. He's old news. So
he ruined the party.
He ruined the party.
Blah, blah.
That's just, those are just internal excuses that they kind of already have arranged because they just like somebody. We like who we like, and you can't like get us away from that. I see this on Twitter and on social media all the time. Because I battle Kamala Harris supporters all the time. And I was like, I'm okay if you, well, I'm not okay with it, but if you like Kamala, you like Kamala. But don't come up with dumb excuses to not support somebody else. That's how I know it's just more about, this is my candidate. This is my candidate unconditionally, and I'm going to support that person. And I'm really not going to use my discernment to figure out whether this particular candidate is the best to fix these problems in society. This is my person. I see that a lot. And so
you know what? I think that makes a lot of sense, but these are Elizabeth Warren people we're talking about. I don't think that fits, and I'll tell you why. Because honestly, most of these people are Johnny-come-latelys to her. They're not like when she first came out, everybody knew she was running. She was sitting at like 3%, 4%, 8%, going nowhere, right?
Yeah.
These are people who have become disenfranchised with Kamala Harris. These are people who've become disenfranchised with Buttigieg and all these other people, the Beto O'Rourke's of the party, I think these people are soft in their feelings towards their candidate. I think you're absolutely right if you're talking about somebody who's been there from the very start. I think that's why Bernie has that big 15 to 20% base of his that's not going anywhere, never going to abandon him. But I don't think that's true for Elizabeth Warren at this point. I don't think she has that base. And I certainly don't think that's true for Biden. Biden's people don't have a clue what he seems to represent. It's just old black people in the South who unfortunately seem to think that they can bring back Obama magic if they vote for this guy, which is absolutely distressing and disturbing that our people would be so damn shallow, but and ill-informed, So
I think
anyway,
Elizabeth Warren it's their I guess it's their fallback plan. I think a lot of people view it as the fallback plan. It's assumed that Biden is the front runner, even though I don't believe that. I don't care what these polls say. Just look at the overall numbers, and when you're talking about fundraising and
donations, actual bodies
that are actually donating money, and I don't believe.
I don't know how much longer. I think the jig is going to be up when the people start going to the polls.
Yeah,
the jig is going to be up.
Yeah, I think you guys are right about that. I think Biden is a stuffed shirt, and he's a name. And as soon as people actually really do start to have to vote, I think he's going to fall away. I think he's going to fall away right after Iowa. I really do. I don't think he's going to make it out of Iowa.
But what I think though is that Elizabeth Warren is that, like I said, I think she's that fallback plan because. Just again, we covered her on this show, and we covered some of the problems that people should have with her. So it's just these problems aren't just being invented. She has horrible answers, and she can't answer these questions in an appropriate way. She says she's going to take all the money in the world, doesn't matter where it comes from. She can't answer the question about how she views our military strategy, and I guess accordance with how she voted in 2017 to increase the military budget. I mean, she wants to run away from a question like that. We know how she's been wishy-washy on the subject of Medicare for all. It's just, I don't believe she's real, and that is disheartening, to use Tulsi Gabbard's word. Now that is disheartening because back in 2016 and prior to that, she had a lot of progressive support. A lot of people believed she was real. I thought she was real at the time as well, and a lot of people wanted to see her run. But starting with that decision to stay on the sidelines, even though you say you don't hold that against her, but I think it started with that. I think it started with that time period where she did not want to support somebody that was clearly more in line with her, I guess what she was promoting herself to be as a progressive. She didn't want to promote that person, didn't want to endorse that person. She wanted to wait, and then she went all enthusiastic with her support for Hillary Clinton. And since then, it's just been like, you really have to raise your eyebrows to who she is and what you think she could be as a president of the United States. I really am very unsure about what she is. Like, who is Elizabeth Warren? I don't know. A lot of people really felt that she was a progressive, a very strong progressive. And now, I don't know that to be true.
Yeah, I think she lost a lot back by not running back in 2016.
Oh, definitely.
I remember I read Bernie's book, his first book, when he was talking about his campaign. Back in 2016, and he was talking about how he was trying to recruit her. He really wanted her to run. I mean, he really tried to advocate and talk to her and tried to get her to run, and she wouldn't do it. So he did it because he figured somebody needed to represent progressive values, but she wouldn't do it. And now, we've heard this recent news where she came out saying, well, one of her, the deep throat people have come out saying that there was signed papers and stuff from 2013 saying that the women, the Democratic women in the Senate, had all thrown their support behind Hillary and that they weren't going to run and they weren't going to support anybody but her in a run. And that explains why she didn't support Bernie. That's the reason. She already gave her alliance and her political power to Hillary, but she was so chicken shit, she didn't want to come out and just admit it because she knew she would piss off that progressive base and the people who adore her. She's very much into the adoration. You can tell when she takes a stage and she sees people going ape crap for her, you can tell she just loves it. She just eats it up. And that's a real issue too.
Like I said, Mike asked the question earlier about, you gonna cut her off. I don't know who she is really politically. I have no idea. Again, she's a former Republican as well.
She was a Republican until she was in her mid-40s.
Exactly.
Until like 1996.
You just can't forget stuff like that.
Again, if people are going to kind of run with the narrative that, Bernie's not a Democrat, you know what I'm saying, and question his I guess, I don't know, his affiliation and whatnot, but yet ignore that with Warren.
Was he ever a Republican?
Exactly.
Was he ever a Republican?
No, Bernie was never a Republican.
Late bloomer into her mid-40s.
Into her mid-40s. I don't know. Like I said, I just hope that, look, we're still a long way off. It is coming towards the late part of this year. It's September already, but we still have over 3 months left of this year until we get to January, and I believe January, that's the first, I believe the primary is first or the caucus? Is it Iowa? I think the Iowa caucus is first.
You got the caucuses in Iowa first, and then you got the New Hampshire primaries.
Okay.
But you know what? I am absolutely hoping that sometime between now and then that the people that, I think about it. I'm a teacher, okay, guys? I'm a teacher. I teach high school science here in Illinois. And let me tell you, if we could get any of the 3 big major Bernie plans through, that is a life changer for 99% of people in this country. Medicare for all would change the entire nature of life in this country.
No doubt.
You know, the Green New Deal would change life for all these people who are currently, you know, worried about their future. I see these kids every day, and some of them, and we talk about climate change at school, and you can see it just breaks their heart because they realize their lives are very much at risk, and their futures may not be there. You know, and as a 50-year-old man, I'm looking at these children, and I'm thinking, why is it that only Bernie Sanders seems to really take this seriously? And you know, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking. So between Medicare for all, the Green New Deal, you know, and then college for all, you know, education for life. I mean, my God, what would that mean to all these poor kids? You know, back when I was going to school, they had affirmative action programs. This would be affirmative action for everybody. Yeah. My God, it's a win. This is the best investment the country can make. Invest in your young people. Everybody wins.
And
that whole bullcrap line about, oh, we don't want to pay for the rich people. Well, rich people aren't going to go to public schools anyway.
Right.
They're going to go to private schools. Right. So it's a moot point.
But see, everything that you're listing right now, I just want to, everything that you're listing right now, those three major, well, I don't know. I mean, there are, of course, a lot of priorities. But those three major issues right there that Bernie Sanders advocates for, was Obama really about changing the game? Nah. He wasn't. That's why this whole thing is completely different than all the support that Obama got. He wasn't really running to change anything. And at the time, we were in our late 20s at the time. Honestly, I didn't see it. I was hoodwinked. Mm-hmm. I was straight up hoodwinked. I did not see it. Late 20s, I did not see it. Money in politics was not a really big issue at that time. And it was something that I wasn't really like invested in, like learning about and how he was compromising. I didn't even notice it, but I notice it now, and I know how it's much different given somebody like Bernie Sanders, who is not about, you know, being corrupted and, you know, just being about this whole corruptive process. Elizabeth Warren, that's another issue, as she tells on herself.
I think that's another problem too. Like, can people connect how certain candidates are tied into that corruption, and do they have the ability to make that connection?
Well, my God, man, after watching Obama work, you know, you would think it would be pretty easy for most people to realize, hey, money buys access, and money determines who gets prosecuted and who doesn't. Who are the winners? All these people from Wall Street who got the bailouts, and who are the losers? All these poor homeowners who got duped. I mean, this shouldn't be that hard, and yet people focus on the wrong things. I remember back in 2008, because Obama was my senator, okay? He was my senator. And I remember meeting Obama back before he ran for president. And I said to him, I met him here in Waukegan, and I met him, and I asked him, I said, if you run for president, they're already talking about it, if we send you to the Senate, are you actually going to serve your term? And he said, he looked at me, he took my hand, and he said, yeah, I'm going to serve. And I'm like, okay, good enough. So I voted for him back in 2006. Then 2 years later, here he is running for president. And I'm just like, oh, my God. And then I went and read his website, and I was trying to read up on what he wanted to do. And I'm like, oh, my God, people are going to think he's the next Martin Luther King, when in truth, he's not that at all. He's not that at all. But people would listen. People just wanted to believe, but they wanted to believe.
People are desperate. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is, man.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate your message. I appreciate your show. You guys do a great job, and I'm going to keep listening. And thanks again.
Well, we appreciate the support, Tony. Thanks for calling in.
Take care.
All right. So let's go to the next caller, 617 area code. You're on the air live.
Hey, Mike and Will. It's Ben out front. How are you doing?
What's going on, Ben?
What's up, Ben?
Nice to hear from you, man.
Yeah, it's good to have you guys back.
You can't say Benzino, man, because Benzino.
Benzino is Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, you can't say
Benzino. I got a new nickname.
That's a diss, man.
I might pull a Jordan and change my name because I was watching some Erin Burnett, and she was, trashing Medicare for All. That time was Simone Sanders. Remember when Simone was on Erin Burnett and she had her against the ropes doing the rope dope?
Yep.
And that was sad. But then there was like, oh, you're out front with Erin Burnett. And I was like, damn it. I'm like, I knew I came up with that on my own, but like, come on. So I got to probably work on that. Elizabeth Warren, now I don't want to like stick on this or anything, but just one more thing that you guys have brought it up before, but do you remember what during the 2019 State of the Union, when the big orange clown was up there talking, and he said a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of reasons to stand up and clap. Like, adding whatever. He said, like, we added 7.5 million jobs, and they don't stand up or anything like that. But then, but America will never be a socialist country. And Elizabeth Warren, she got off her seat, and her hair was flopping around, and she was clapping and mouthing and John jibber jabbering with all like Chuck Schumer and stuff like that. Like, give me a break. That's what gets you excited.
You know what happened there? I think like, when somebody is like being hypnotized, somebody's hypnotized, there's a trigger word and they kind of like start acting out. Or like remember that movie Manchurian Candidate?
Oh.
And they just say a word, say the person's name, and that person just they just come on and they can't control themselves, and now they just go into their programming. I think that at that moment, the moment you're talking about when she just got up and started clapping, I think that was just reflexive of who she is. And so I don't think she could control herself because that's who she is. Capitalism. And like
I forget about that too. I mean, when thinking about like things that are not right with Elizabeth Warren, that's not one of the things that I think about. But yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
I bet Bernie Sanders didn't stand up for that. I bet he
didn't. He was sitting there like,
because that was a dig at Bernie Sanders actually.
No, yeah, that was actually that was about Bernie Sanders, and you can see how long in the face he was. He was like, "All right, I got your ass."
Exactly.
Okay. He was like, okay.
Yep. But Elizabeth, she got up, and Chuck with his glasses, his little tiny reading glasses, he was up. He was looking through his glasses at Trump, saying, "Yeah, why can't you be like that all the time?" The other thing was, you guys remember, I don't know if this was like right before you guys went on break too, Mitch McConnell was like, he was getting rug burn. Everybody was showing up to his things and protesting him and calling him Moscow Mitch and just embarrassing him and stuff. And then, right when that happened, when they were going on recess, August recess, all of a sudden he fell and he hurt his shoulder and he couldn't do any town hall. He couldn't go and talk to any of his constituencies because his arm was in a sling. I didn't see him at a thing. He could have popped some of those opioids that he loves so much down there. Him and like, all the people who are backing the pharmaceutical stuff. You can't smoke weed, but you can pop all the opioids you want. So he should have popped a couple of opioids and got on stage and gotten his tail tucked between his legs and embarrassed himself. I'd like to see receipts on that. What is it? The emergency room bill?
Yeah.
You're not gonna you think they staged that or something? Yeah. Or you think they just staged that so he could avoid making appearances?
He's so fake. I don't believe that for a second. He did that right at the right time so that there's no injury.
He threw himself down the stairs?
Like one stair.
Or one stair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right when he was about to have to go home and go and do because there was a gun control debate going on. Everyone was fired up. They were calling him Moscow Mitch. They were fired up. And he just couldn't take it anymore. He was getting embarrassed all over the place. He was like the center of all the memes and stuff. So
I think that totally Moscow Mitch really hurts him. I think that hurts him.
You could tell. Yeah. It looked like his lips start quivering like he's about to cry when he hears that.
I think he's hurt.
So he doesn't want to come out in public. You know what I'm saying?
Moscow Mitch.
So maybe he did like
clutch my pearls.
He staged like a slip and fall, like Ezel.
Yeah.
In the convenience store on Friday.
Yeah.
He did a my neck and my back thing.
Oh,
I mean, I looked at his website because I was thinking that, and I didn't see a single campaign event. I mean, like, just because you have a dislocated shoulder, you can't do your job. Like, any one of us, like, if we get hurt, we still have to go to work. We don't have time off. So it's like, okay, so you just do whatever you want. You get your free insurance from us. You go and get your bills paid for by us, and then you don't give us the same reciprocity or whatever. You just go and get all your goodies, and then act like it's not any good for the rest of us, right? So Mitch McConnell, he's just looking at him, you can tell he's a weasel. He's just one of the worst. And you guys know I love Bernie Sanders. I've liked him since basically around like 2015, like right around probably the time where people in New York would have had to register to vote for him, because we've talked about how it's problematic in some of the primary states, how you have to register like a year in advance. Right. And then, some people, they're finding out about Bernie late. They can't vote for him. But I found out about him. I'm in Massachusetts. You can register pretty late and everything. Mm-hmm. You don't even have to be a member of the party to vote for a Democrat or a Republican. But so I rarely ever criticize him. But when he was asked about the Yang's universal basic income, I didn't like his response to that. It was basically that he was being interviewed with, I forget who, but they asked him, what do you think about Andrew Yang's universal basic income versus your current guaranteed jobs? And he's saying that the guaranteed jobs is the way to go, and that, universal basic income isn't really going to solve problems, which, I don't know. I just don't think that was, Bernie was saying, like, basically, where's people's motivation to work going to come from? I mean, for me, what I would have liked to have heard was, I would like Bernie to say, we're going to have a guaranteed jobs program, and we're going to look at universal basic income. They don't have to be exclusive. They don't have to be competing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And if somebody has a problem with universal basic income, which I'm somebody who does, then I guess however it can be made, more practically, however it can be implemented more practically, then those are things that people should suggest instead of just shitting on it. Like, I have my own problems with it, but I'm willing to bet that Andrew Yang is, understands that there could be some kind of practical change that can be made for it. Because on the surface, I definitely agree that there's some kind of pitfalls, because you have to choose between, because it's like a VAT, it's a value-added tax. Yeah. And you have to choose between your benefits and that.
That I don't like.
That I don't like.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And also, if we're talking about social mobility, yes, it helps people, and that's a good thing. But as far as social mobility goes, it's not going to it's not going to close that gap between the wealthy and the poor. It's not going to close that gap between.
Not that alone.
Not that alone. Yeah. It's not going to close the gap that top earners have with bottom earners, like CEOs versus employees. It's not going to close that gap, because $1,000 or $1,000 minus your benefits just means so much more to a regular person than somebody who is in the upper tax bracket. But again, it could use some work.
I mean, I like the idea.
I know, like, we've always liked the idea, but
we're talking about Andrew Yang's UBI.
Yeah, Andrew. Yeah, I don't believe for one second that Andrew Yang wouldn't adjust something like that.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I just don't believe that for a second. He's too smart a person. So I just don't, because I've seen.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, man.
Well, I was just going to say, you kind of hit on it. That's Andrew Yang's version of UBI, but Bernie also could have elaborated on that.
Right.
He could have said, look, I think it's a great proposal, but it needs some work. I don't think adding in a value-added tax, which is regressive, it goes against people who have to spend the majority of their paycheck. I don't think that is a good idea. I don't think that's the way to go. I think we should all definitely look at UBI as a system, but I don't think that, I wouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater on that, but I couldn't tell if it was Mike or Will who said it, but somebody mentioned that that's Yang's version of UBI, and it sounds like you guys are at least sort of interested in it otherwise. Because I mean, with other things like with Alaska, they have it's not really a UBI, but they have the dividends for oil.
It's basically it's like, hey, we'll give you $1,000. We'll give you a certain amount of money per month because we destroying your environment.
Well,
so it's like a little bio.
If we were to rework the tax system, we're all fighting over crumbs right now, and we're like, oh, well, we can't possibly give that crumb over there because then we won't have any crumbs for over here. If we actually tax the rich the way that they should be, which, as I've said before on this show, it should be based on how much money you have at the end of the year, after you bought your milk, after you bought your chicken, after you bought, your car insurance. And then if you have $5 left, that's what you get taxed on. And like most people, they don't have, $1 million left at the end of the year. So, for people who complain about, oh, well, if I work and I'm only getting to keep 70% of it and you keep the rest, a lot of people have negative at the end of the year. They go into debt one way or another because of an unexpected expense, and they didn't save anything the whole year. You can blame people, like Ben Shapiro would blame you for that, but I know that's just kind of like the way it is. If you get ahead in any given year, you should definitely thank your lucky stars on that. But to say that, we're all fighting over crumbs and we can't say can't do universal basic income because we have other places to put the money. Well, let's stop war. Let's cut the war budget down to a defensive budget. I mean, we could have some pretty cool tactical, strike capabilities if we need to. But as far as us having what the military budget is it $700 billion or is it more than that?
Over $700 billion. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, we have all this money for that stuff. It goes unquestioned. And poor Elizabeth, when she got accosted by Emma Vigeland with that question, and she looked at her, she's like, well, if your question is, it's like, no. She asked you a straightforward question, and if you have to change and reframe the question, you're getting smushed on that one. So it was ugly. It was really, really sad to see. Because I mean, at the end of the day, we might be left with, Elizabeth Warren, sort of like a reheated dinner with Elizabeth Warren. It will feel like, but at least maybe we'll be eating.
But you gotta specify what kind of reheated dinner is it, man?
Yeah, because there's a lot.
Because
of them,
like meatloaf or like spaghetti, that's good.
Or it can be one of them TV dinners you bought from the store.
You bought from the store. So if you talking about like French fries or something, like McDonald's French fries, or like
damn,
I don't know. I guess when I was saying that, I was kind of
French fries.
Exactly, that's the point. And microwave too.
Oh my god.
I was kind of thinking like something with some chicken gravy because it's like it'll still taste good. There'll be some sustenance there for us at the end, but nobody's gonna be really excited about it. It's not like Bernie Sanders would be like turkey Thanksgiving dinner. Everybody runs in. You're playing football out in the yard. Yeah. Everybody runs in, gets the mashed potatoes, stuffing, some turkey, plenty of drink and everything like that. Maybe even like a little banquet bowl full of some punch with some ginger ale mixed in and everything. Everybody's happy. But Elizabeth Warren is like, you get home late from a long day at work or something, and like everyone forgot to go grocery shopping, and you have like 3-day-old chicken and gravy with some corn, and like that's it.
Yo, you are painting a picture.
I know, man.
That's hilarious, man.
Like you're equating Elizabeth Warren to like one of those the meals that like poor college kids eat. You know what I'm saying? Like some ramen noodles.
Ramen noodles, man, every night. Shrimp, chicken. What's another one?
They got shrimp, chicken, teriyaki.
Teriyaki, yeah.
There's like a billion. There's a billion.
I stick with like 3. I always stuck with 3. That shrimp, that chicken.
Yeah, and I even flavor my own ramen noodles. Sometimes I put some paprika in there, a little cayenne pepper.
Is she at least a Lunchable? Is she
a frozen meal or something?
Is she at least a Lunchable, dog? Or like one of them Totino's dollar pizzas?
Man, he said
I just think she's something like a reheated dinner because like everybody's all cold on her and stuff like that. But at the end, we're gonna have to be a little bit more excited, I guess, than anybody could have been for Hillary. Because at least, even though she's going to be going after the big corporate money and stuff. Hopefully, we won't have to face this. But I mean, there's no Elizabeth Warren Foundation where she's like gone around and done all this trash. She hasn't gone to like a lot, as far as I know, she hasn't gone to a lot of Wall Street banks and given speeches, although I heard she like maybe did one. But I just don't think she's the best person to fight against Trump. I mean, Bernie versus Trump would be unbelievable. Bernie Bernie's sharp as attack. He'll make Trump look like an idiot. Bernie's got all the credibility in the world. Elizabeth Warren's going to get, she's a decent person, but she's going to get bogged down. And I was thinking, like, how we get presidential candidates? You have to be in a position to be a presidential candidate. Think about how many people we have in this beautiful country, people who would be a better president than Elizabeth Warren. Every Bernie chick out there, pretty much like every Bernie bro out there, could probably be, with getting some consultation and stuff, could be a better president than Elizabeth, because we're not going to have that leaning. We would do what's right for the people. But we're stuck with, like, taking between, like, these very few people, and they do everything they can to keep Bernie against the ropes, and I'm sure it's going to get uglier and uglier, but people don't seem to stop showing up for him, so hopefully we can keep it rolling.
We need to change things in the country. I'm not sure when or if that will ever take place, but regular people really need to man these positions. They need to hold these positions. These don't need to be positions for the elite, because too often, historically, the elite don't work for us. They don't work for just regular people. They aren't representatives of the people. So I don't know why it's so difficult for just regular people to, put one and one together. Just put these together. If they're in positions of power, not because they're regular, but because they choose to be elite, and we don't have term limits. It's just this whole system does not create an environment where it's going to be beneficial for for the most of us, for the majority of us. We need to change it. Again, I always speculate how, or no, I kind of wonder how that would happen, and how long it would take to get to a place like that. But I would be encouraged with a Bernie Sanders presidency. I think that would put us on the way to doing it, even though there would be a lot of work left to do. But if that doesn't happen, if that one action doesn't happen, I mean, it's just extending the time that we really receive some help, really, some real help. I agree with what you said about Bernie Sanders too, about his take on UBI too. Bernie Sanders is not a perfect candidate.
Oh, definitely.
Not a perfect candidate. We talked about that back in 2016. You just brought up how he didn't go after Hillary Clinton about the corruption whole thing in a debate.
Yeah, it's bad because essentially, like, that's what his whole campaign was centered on.
Yeah. So it was that moment for him to actually tie it to her, but he didn't do it. So yeah, he's not a perfect candidate. I wouldn't like that answer that he gave on UBI. We've talked about his answer as it relates to reparations. I didn't like his answer with that either. Definitely did not like his answer whatsoever. What he was describing was not reparations. So, yeah, he's not a perfect candidate. Is he the best candidate in the race? Hands down. Hands down.
Yeah. The other thing that he said once that I thought was sort of wrong was that time he kind of got crucified for saying that you won't lose your doctor if we go to a Medicare for all. And there was a woman who was interviewing him on TV, and she was like, okay, I'm a woman. I love my doctor. My doctor is a woman. I have a very strong bond with my doctor. And every time I go to my doctor, I think my lucky stars that I get to see this woman. Are you telling me that under a Medicare for all, you won't lose your doctor? And he's like, absolutely, you're not going to lose your doctor. You're going to all say this. And she's like, well, funny, because what if my doctor doesn't want to participate in that system? And, like, we're all supposed to feel so bad for her that she doesn't get to go to her precious doctor that she loves so much, when we have 30 million people, I think 30 million people without insurance in this country. So the right answer to that question is, look, it's great that you love your doctor. I hope that she'll participate in the Medicare for all. But I can tell you that that's going to be up to them if they want to participate or not. I think, 95% of doctors are going to, because the alternative would be that you're not going to be practicing medicine anymore. You only practice private. So you can always go if you want to pay out of pocket, and you can do that. But you have to keep in mind, ma'am, that there's 30 million people who can't see a doctor right now. So I would feel bad for you, but I feel terrible for them, and we have to do what's best for everyone.
Yeah.
And how you feel about, that's kind of like where it's at.
That would have been a better answer.
Yeah, dealing with the reality of the situation.
Yeah, because I can see how, it would be a draw to appeal to the emotions of some people, especially with questions like that.
And this one particular person,
one
that's asking
particular
that question
person.
at
So
that time.
he could have gave an answer like Ben gave, and then maybe provided some analogy, because there are always going to be certain societal changes that may affect us as individuals in our own little micro situations.
But is it better for society?
Is it better for us? Like if, like for some reason, if like the schools started getting overcrowded, right? And the schools, and they had to do redistricting, but your kid liked the teacher.
Yeah.
Your kid liked the teacher. They developed a bond with the teacher.
Right.
And maybe that teacher taught multiple grades or taught a certain class where your child was going to see that teacher again. And they developed a bond with that teacher, but maybe some redistricting to kind of alleviate the pressures of that one school. They built another school district, built another couple of schools, they redistrict, and maybe your child has to go to a different school.
That'd be a hardship.
That'll be a hardship.
But maybe there'd be school choice.
Maybe there'd be school choice.
Maybe, the bus wouldn't come, but that, maybe you have to drive your student into that
So
school.
basically you would have to
there'd be a hardship.
It would be a hardship if you have to change what you do.
Yeah, but still.
You can't,
because of you are having a problem. And in reality, like you said too, it's more than likely that her doctor is going to be willing to participate. If you don't participate in the single payer system that is implemented, you're hurting yourself, because that's the only system that's going to be around that is taking care of regular healthcare needs. So if you don't choose to participate in that, what are you doing to yourself? You must be a masochist.
Yeah, you only take private money, you only go out of pocket. So you could also, I know this is not the right answer, but this is just another way to sort of look at the foolishness of this question, is you say to her, okay, ma'am, it sounds like you really like your doctor. You're aware that Medicare for All costs half as much to cover each person as private insurance. So you're willing to pay a little bit extra to make sure that you get to go to see who you want to see. And that's great that you're willing to pay a little more to see who you want to see. But how does your doctor feel about you if they're not willing to take a little bit less to see you? So how valuable are you to them? I mean, if you look at it like that, you're nothing to that doctor. They don't care about you. You show up there, you're another number. That's all you are. So don't act like you're the best friend with the doctor. You really like the way that the doctor writes you your prescription. I mean, get lost. I don't feel bad for anybody who's going to lose their insurance in this.
Yo, Ben, let me ask you a question. Did you go to school for political science?
No, marketing.
Marketing, okay. Have you ever been elected as a public official?
I volunteer only. I was elected to president of the 6th grade class.
Okay. Wait, yo, man.
Okay.
Hey, yo.
Oh, yeah, that's gangster right there.
Hey, man, shoot.
Okay.
That's tough, man.
Not many people can say that.
You know how we are when we that age, man.
No doubt, man. Kudos for that, straight up. I'm just asking these questions because, you when we were talking about Elizabeth Warren, you were saying she's smarter politically than I mean, she's in the system.
We're just some regular guys.
Regular people who are just looking at the situation for what it is and just coming away with the right analysis. And that's what I see from you, Ben. I mean, it sounds like you pay attention, you're informed, and you know better how to handle a question like that. So, like I said, we need to have a situation where regular people who are informed that actually want to represent people can actually be elected to office.
Yeah, that's how it should be, but they're going to put people, the people who get the positions are the very same people who benefit off of the system.
Exactly.
So of course you wouldn't want to change it.
No.
And it's like, and they do a really good job at it too. So it's not just the representatives that that get voted into the office. Mm-hmm. If you look at the media, what are they filled with?
Yeah.
What are they filled with? These networks intentionally hire what I don't know what you would call them, like upper tax bracket hosts, right? Mm-hmm. They intentionally hire upper tax bracket hosts, like Joy Behar, somebody like Whoopi, you know what I'm saying? And they're relatable.
Yeah.
They're relatable. And so they use these hosts and their likability as like I guess you would call it, I don't know. I guess they use their likability as some sort of like foundation, or they kind of use it as like a gateway to, I guess, for the viewer to kind of readily accept those host political views. So hey, I can relate to her. So I can relate to the Anderson Cooper. He's a nice guy. He has a nice personality. Like Don Lemon, I like him. And so you connect to that, and that kind of ushers you in, or it kind of acts as a gateway for you to kind of like, accept their political positions and political views. And the other manipulative tactic they use, I'll use The View again because I mentioned Whoopi and Joy. They put somebody who is just ridiculously nonsensical on as a host, and who is just short-sighted, aka Meghan McCain, my father, my father, my father, my father, John McCain. They put somebody like that on, right? And then now people like Whoopi Goldberg and Joy, who have common sense in most cases, I'm not going to shit on them, but it makes their political position seem reasonable,
more rational than what.
So that's why she's there. That's why Meghan McCain is there. So they do that through the media too. They put these elite figures and people who will be affected, I guess they would think negatively by any kind of tax reform. They put those people on so you can kind of relate to them personally.
Yo, and Ben, just to let you know, man, I was the class president in 2nd grade.
There we go. There we go.
Not 6th grade. I ain't do it big like you.
I ain't do it big.
2nd grade, yeah. But they misspelled my name though. They misspelled my name.
I'm just gonna float this out there. I think I was class president of the junior class too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, word, okay.
I lost it one year when I was in a car accident, and somebody had to give my speech for me, and they kind of like knocked me off there like a bird with a broken wing. But I still hung in there for the most part for quite a bit of it. But yeah, so I was commenting last time you guys were on air that Will should run for Senate against Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Will,
I shut that down.
No, he didn't. He thinks he shut it down. It's not shut down.
I think Mike would do very well in that too, but I think that I don't know. It just seems like Will kind of like, I don't know what it is about Will that kind of makes it seem like he might actually do it.
You don't see this, but my man was tricking. Man was like, man, Ben, dog, why you putting me out here, dog? Now you validating.
All right, so we only got a couple minutes, but look, honestly, no doubt, back in the day, not in the heyday, nothing like that, but I'd say less than a decade ago, I definitely had like serious interest in running for politics. No doubt. I don't know if I've said that before, but I definitely did have interest in running. I really, really wanted to. I just thought, maybe I can make a difference, this and that, blah, 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 blah. It just kind of dissipated, just back then too, I was not as informed as I am now, and I think I was a lot more optimistic about what could be done with just a single person back then than I am right now. I'm a lot more cynical,
skeptical.
No, I feel. I don't. Now, this isn't to say that good people shouldn't run. I definitely believe that is true. I'm just not sure that I'm that person. There's a, there's a term presidential, like I said, we only have like less than a minute. There's a term presidential. Certain people have that kind of rhetorical type of style, and I don't have that. I'm one that doesn't bullshit, and I don't know how my style would really be accepted. I don't know how it would be received.
So you couldn't
polish
yourself.
I don't know.
Justice Democrat. You get in with a Justice Democrat, they will plaster your name everywhere. Once people get to see what you're all about, you might not be Lindsey Graham your first try, but I mean, you might as well just like knock him around. I would love to see that. I would love it so much. So hey, I'll let you guys go, but it's always great tuning in. So guys, take care and.
Man, you got that in right away, man. Just cut you off. But we appreciate you being on the show, Ben. Definitely always appreciate when you call in, man. Always appreciate your take. Minus the...
No, we appreciate that, too.
Minus the call for
don't be trying to erase that,
me personally to run for... like I said, it's not that... look...
And Gene brings something up as well. That's actually what I was thinking about.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a, concern, no doubt. Really, look... I just know that the way candidates respond on the issues when they're in an interview, when they're on the debate stage, I'm not saying that I could not be polished. I'm not saying that, no doubt I could be informed. I'm informed right now. Not on everything. I don't claim to be the best, even the best, opinion, commentator, analyst. I'm not one of the best. No, but yes, I could educate myself more. Yes, I can convey many things. I could articulate many things. I don't think it'd be a problem. I think it has more to do with.
You might.
I'm not accepting bullshit.
You might choke somebody out.
Yeah, I might not put my hands on them. But it's gonna get tense.
You might show up like Wayne Brady and like Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. I'm gonna be the one that's like this interview is about to get uncomfortable. Like it's gonna get uncomfortable because I see what you're trying to do. I'm not gonna I'm just gonna roll with the punches. I'm gonna actually make a fool out of you. And not insult you blatantly, but I'm gonna insult you with my work. I just don't know how that would be received. And you know what I feel about patriotism and the Star Spangled Banner and all of that.
All that being said, that's why I said you could be the perfect person to change the game up.
Well, I'm gonna have to change states though because I don't. In South Carolina, there might be a state that's okay with who I am politically, running for office.
Maybe. Yeah.
But South Carolina,
you might get lynched. Just saying, dog.
South Carolina, yeah, I don't think we're anywhere near there in South Carolina. Not for a statewide office, too. Maybe for state senate, state representative.
Maybe you just go just work up. Do like city council or something first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It don't take that much money to get up in there.
Yeah.
Maybe you should move to a smaller municipality. Sometimes I've seen like the amount of money it takes to win those races is like small.
Gene asked, Will, do you want to have to play the game or would you be yourself and see what happens? Oh no. If I ever got involved with politics, I would not be playing any games. It would be as real as you see right now. I couldn't put on the mask. I just couldn't put on the costume and just kind of like limit my reactions and my takes. I would have to tell it as it is, I could not curse. I definitely could not curse. That's nothing. I could definitely not curse.
It's easy to say that like when you're relaxed. But when that blood pressure starts getting up, you know what I'm saying? It might slip a few times. I know how I get like that sometimes.
Yeah. I think I can keep that under control. I think so.
I think we do a pretty good job on this show, even when we get a little hype.
Yeah. For the most part.
Sometimes I'll throw out like a F-bomb.
I did say that about Rahm Emanuel tonight. I usually don't say.
Oh yeah, that is right.
Yeah, but he deserves that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, he deserves that. Yeah, I don't apologize for that.
Well, I mean, what's her face? Did say, what's the congresswoman that said like fucking impeach him?
Yeah. She said impeach the motherfucker.
Impeach the motherfucker.
Rashida Tlaib said that. Yeah. There was definitely some backlash, but
did she lose support?
No, I don't think so. That's true. That's true. I will say that I think we are approaching a time where being more real is more acceptable. Actually being who you are is more acceptable now than it used to be.
But why is that though? Because who does it have to do? Who does it have to do with? Because if I am going out to try to appeal to people and I have to not be real, then that says something about the population.
Yeah.
I think that says more about the population than it does the politicians.
Yeah.
because they don't want somebody real, I think, in some cases.
But how many?
Not in all cases. I'm just saying, in certain cases, I don't think people want that.
And see that's where I'm going. In the United States Congress, how many people would you actually say, now that's somebody that gives it to you 100% real? How many people can you actually point to where you would really come away with that opinion? I only say there's maybe a handful.
It depends on what you mean by real and what people consider or define as real. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like real in a very superficial way?
No. I'm saying like that's what that person believes, and they're not afraid to say it.
Yeah, but it depends on what those beliefs have to do with.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Because some people just care about very superficial things that truly don't affect their lives, and that appeals to them. Mm-hmm. And so a politician that does do that and caters to that type of mentality, they think that politician is being real. But you're talking about real on like...
I'm talking about, again, I have no reason to suspect that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is not real. I have no reason to suspect that she's not.
I think that's a good example of somebody who gained popularity for being real.
Exactly.
But like you said, there's not many of those.
Not many. And that's my point. Like I think we're at a point where, you know, I guess it's okay in some areas. I guess in some areas it's okay. You can actually win given that strategy,
So
being who you are.
The people,
not many of them.
The people have to be tired of the facade too.
Yeah. Because Joe Crowley was in that district for many years.
Think about how much not just Republicans but Democrats kind of put on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about that when I think it was the first or it was the second debate when they had the color guard and all that.
Yeah.
I'm like, did they do that for the first debate?
They didn't. But see, it was CNN.
They had
MSNBC,
flag,
they didn't do that.
Stand up for the pledge. I'm like, you see?
That's putting on.
That's putting on.
Yeah.
And people actually like that.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't mean anything.
I see, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. Any questions about the flag? You know, Paige, it's gonna get uncomfortable.
I mean, I don't see.
Okay, before you even say that, have you seen anybody when you're talking about the flag, the Star Spangled Banner, the kneeling, or anything? Have you seen anybody actually take it back to the War of 1812?
And maybe that's the problem. Maybe you could be that person.
Man, I get uncomfortable.
Maybe, I'm just saying.
I get uncomfortable.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe you could take it back. I mean, it's like it's not like you just saying like, man, fuck the flag, man. And like you just take a dump on it like right in front of the camera. It's not like you doing that. I mean, damn.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have reasons. I can definitely explain those reasons. It's
like,
just
you just stomping on the flag, you dancing like you moonwalking on the flag. I'm like, nah, you're not gonna be doing that, dog.
Yeah, you crazy.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm actually doing that jump too with my feet too.
Oh, it's not. That would be funny as hell.
Nah, you're not gonna be doing that shit.
Yeah, but you know, look, if they could choose to misinterpret Colin Kaepernick's actions, you know what I'm saying? If they could choose to do that, man, come on, man.
Hey, man, but if you a trendsetter,
I'm just saying.
If you a trendsetter,
different state. Different state, maybe it's possible. Maybe it's possible in a different state. South Carolina, Lindsey Graham ain't being challenged with William Gaillard. No, that's not gonna happen.
Oh man,
that's just not gonna happen, man. But yeah, second grade, I tell you, they misspelled my name. You would think they misspelled the Gaillard, right? No, they misspelled William. My teachers misspelled
Wilhelm.
No, it was awful. I never seen. It was WILLILLIAM.
Willilillum? Willilillum?
It was on the board.
Willilillum.
She never even changed it. It was up on the board in class. Class president, whatever that is, Gaillard.
Willilillum.
Yes.
Willilillum.
I was like, really?
I'm like, you supposed to be teaching us how to spell? You supposed to be teaching us how to spell correctly, and that's what you do to me? You're supposed to be in an environment of education.
How am I supposed to get respect like that?
Maybe she was trying to play you, dog.
Maybe.
Will Ilum.
All right, man. We are going to get out of here. But yeah, it's been good to be back. Just conversating on these issues, interacting with you, seeing all you chat in the chat section. Gene says times are changing, Will. You need to get into politics.
Yeah.
The original Will.
And they talking about Jay-Z, something we talked about before he went on break, but that story has progressed a lot further since then.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, a lot of things.
A lot of ironies with that dude, man. And who he's choosing, or the organizations he chose, I guess, to donate money to, or the proceeds from all the fundraising.
Yeah.
The fundraising. The organizations he's chosen to give to are fairly interesting. What's the one? The club, something Crusher Club or something?
Is that it?
Something Crusher's Club, who was retweeting Candace Owens. This organization was retweeting Candace Owens, talking about All Lives Matter. One of the founders of this organization who does most of the outreach, cutting Mug's dreads off, acting like it's some ritual that makes them more acceptable, which is ironic considering Jay-Z has dreads now. Isn't that weird? So this dude who has dreads is donating money to an organization, or funneling money to an organization to help at-risk youth. And in this organization, one of the rituals that they use, or they go through, I guess, to make these young men more presentable and more acceptable, is to cut their dreads. But your boy JC got locks now. I'm like, what? I'm like, that shit's backwards. I think those locks that Jay-Z has, that was a part of him being a LARPer. I think he's LARPing. Those dreads, he was getting ready for this. He knew he was going to be about this. So hey, the dreads kind of give him some authenticity.
He's fake.
Fuck yeah, he is,
He's
man.
fake as hell. Look, he's done some positive things, and people have been, people that are still on his side have, they've been ready to say the positive things that he's been doing, and that's fine. That's fine. Actually, I wouldn't take anything away from him that he's actually trying to do to help people. I wouldn't take that away. You know who else has done a lot of positive things? Hillary Clinton. I'm sure Donald Trump has done some positive things. Does that mean they can't get criticized?
Don't say things like he's infiltrated the NFL type dumb shit too.
No.
Don't say that.
No.
Don't say or he's infiltrated the NBA, being owner of 0.001% of a team. I'm like, yeah, black capitalists will save us. Sure.
Hold on. All right, so hold on. We got a comment right here. So somebody says, Tyrone says, you guys are showing your limitations in persuasion. As you both mentioned, Tulsi is saying progressive point of view, but in disguise conservatively when in front of conservatives.
I don't know what you mean.
I'm not sure what that
And we was talking about that like an hour ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that means.
I don't know what that means, but we were talking about that like yesterday. So, that needs some clarification.
What we have said about Tulsi Gabbard is that she straddles the fence, and it really does depend on her audience. Actually, I don't know that it does depend on her audience. She straddles the fence. She tries to play the middle every single chance that she can get. She plays the middle, even when it is clear what her position is. And on that interview, with that interview with Dave Rubin, she made her point clear. If we're talking about immigration, she made her point very clear. She said her position is, yes, there's some areas where there is a need for some type of structure. There are some areas where there is no need for that, and it doesn't make any sense. So we might use technology, and we might use the agents and blah, 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 or just natural structures, whatever. We don't need a Trump wall. To say that the Democratic position is open border when it mirrors your ideology and how you view the situation, it mirrors. It's not similar. When it mirrors
it's the same
as what you are promoting. when you say that they are open borders, but you are not, then you are doing something here.
Again, we would like, since you did chime in, it would be good if you would explain that position. We're talking about her position and what reason she would have that position, even though her position, like Will said, mirrors the Democrats. Even though she thought it was fair that Rafe Dubin categorized the position the Democrats have as open borders. He said that would be fair.
And yeah,
now you have to answer.
That would be fair.
Like that's all we're trying to say.
I think that's
so.
fair, yeah.
Again, we are kind of making the calculation because all we can do is assume. That's really all we can do is assume because it doesn't make sense. We have to try to figure out why she said something that doesn't make sense. It's not our fault that we have to try to dig into that. That's her fault. And based on what I know about Rafe Dubin's show and who he has on and how that question was leading, I think our reasoning is sound. Yeah. Our reasoning is sound based on like his audience. Why would she just go with a loaded question like that? Because she was playing to his audience. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how you can come to a different conclusion.
Yeah. Oh, well, he answered you.
Maybe I read that shit, man. I ain't looking at it.
No. So really, this conversation we're having is pointless because this is the response.
Nah, you better read that shit.
You guys just hate how she packaged her viewpoint. She stayed true to being progressive, but threw the Dems under the bus, and why she should be loyal to those cheaters. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, you're very rational. Whatever you're Tyrone.
Because the Democratic Party, DNC are cheaters,
you should
change throw them under the bus, even though they have the same positions.
Change your last name. You should change it from Blackshear to Biggums. Tyrone, your name is Tyrone Biggums now. Yeah, it's Biggums.
Because the DNC, because you view the DNC as cheaters, the Democratic Party as cheaters, even though they have the same position on something, Tulsi should throw them under the bus, even though they have the same position.
Even though she's wrong. This is not a this wasn't a referendum on the DNC. This is a referendum on her rationale.
Yeah, but our argument skills, our debate skills are lacking. We lack persuasion skills because we, I guess, are logical.
I don't know. This has nothing to do with the DNC.
Nope, not one bit.
Not one bit.
The DNC wasn't even.
Can you explain how whatever position the Democrats have? Which was clearly explained by Will Ilum.
Yep.
Clearly explained. Will Ilum clearly explain this.
In
Can you
depth.
explain how that is open borders? If you can't explain that, then you're completely...
And you know who else didn't explain it? Tulsi.
She didn't explain
She just said that, yep, Dave Rubin, that's right. They are open borders. If you really take a look at their proposals.
That seemed a bit desperate to me. Again, maybe you should watch Dave Rubin's show and look at the other guests he has on. Maybe that'll give you a better idea of who his audience is. That's all. So I don't know how you can come out here and just come out of pocket like this, bro.
Yeah. Smitty said it right. He said she misrepresented others to make herself look better, is what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like to me too. That's what she did. And the sad part is that's what she does many times. She's done it many times.
And guess what? She didn't really have to.
No.
She didn't really have to.
Nope. She could just be who she is, but doesn't do that. Anyway, all right, we're going to get out of here. All right, so the next show is going to be on Friday, okay? Remember that. It's going to be on Friday, not on Thursday. We will send out a reminder.
Yeah, but yes, she did. I'm glad you mentioned that. Oh, she had Marianne Williamson on, and she played him.
Yeah,
he thought Marianne Williamson, obviously, based on how he questioned her and how he tried to box her in, he thought he was dealing with a dummy.
Yep, that's what Smitty said. He was expecting a loony punching bag.
Yep, and that jump was mad funny. Yeah. You could tell he was like a deer caught in hell, like oh.
Because she ain't stupid. No, she might come across at some, during the debates, of course, there's some points where it's like.
And she has some kind of a Looney Tune beliefs. I will admit. I'm like.
Some comments, you can't ignore that sometimes she says some things that are like.
She's like, just spray some sage on it, child. I'm like, no, that's not going to work.
I'm like, girl, you are so
just
on.
I'm
like, don't say that on a debate.
Spray a little sage on it.
Like, yeah, but when you get to the meat of what she's actually talking about, there's no loony there. Oh no, there's no loony. No. She knows exactly what she's talking about.
Inhale this frankincense and wash all your troubles go away. I'm like, oh God, no, here we go again.
Let's take to the issues, man. Anyway. I don't think I'm gonna read this one. I'm not reading that. Anyway, all right, we're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna read that. Done with that. All right, so anyway, like I said, we're going to be back on Friday. So the debate is on Thursday night. Hope everybody, or, actually, I don't care if you, what? That's right. Yeah, I'm going to do that. But yeah, the debate is on Thursday. Watch it or not, actually, I don't care. I don't care. I'm sure you're going to see some clips. We're going to have a bunch of clips for you on Friday. So, we'll be prepared. Definitely want to give a shout out to our callers tonight, Tony and Ben. Thank you very much for calling us, letting your voice be heard. And the super chat section, don't want to forget them. Killer Thriller.
Oh, Killer Thriller. Now that sounds like some stuff.
Yeah. It's spelled in a way that I've never seen
Killer
before.
Thriller.
Killer Thriller.
Yeah. You be selling stuff, man.
Yeah. Much love to you, man. Whatever. Ben out front, grateful to be tuning into LTMB. Again, thank you, Ben, for being here and sending us a little bit of that super chat cheese. Howdy doody. I assume that's what it is.
That's old school, right?
That's old school. Thanks for keeping it 100. No doubt, man. That's how we always got to keep it. And Mandy Sadowski, welcome back, guys. You were missed. Now that's love right there. That's love right there.
There's some very creative usernames.
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah. But yeah, man, we try to pay attention to the chat section. We saw a lot of you, just with some, positive words, hey, good for you to be back. We saw Sharon Formation in here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Gene, of course, all of you. We appreciate you being here with us. And we do hope that you join us for the next broadcast as well.
Yeah, Friday, what time?
I would say 6.
6 is okay.
Yeah, 6 is probably be good. Yeah, 6 o'clock. Yeah, make it a little bit. Because it's look, we could try to make it 2 hours, but I hope it does only go 2 hours. But
you never know.
Yeah, I don't
Not
know.
with these debates.
And it's gonna be all 10 of these jokers now. It's gonna be 10 of these jokers. Biden, all of them gonna be on the same stage.
It might get interesting, man.
I'm not sure.
Hopefully, Biden's eye doesn't bleed.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's true. I was gonna say Bernie hadn't been on the stage with Kamala before, but yeah, he did the first one. I think. Yeah, he was on the stage with her. And Biden. Yeah, and that's where Kamala. Yeah, she struck and Bernie didn't really. But anyway, it should be interesting. And like I said, we'll have
Kamala's
it on
still on the stage if somebody's not. Just saying, Tyrone. Better call somebody. Tyrone. Call.
Now that's a dig. That's a dig.
Just saying.
That's a dig.
I don't like her.
Yo.
I don't like Kamala now, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, all this love, you would expect the support to be more, wouldn't you? All this love, right? All this fierce, irrational support. You would expect the actual numbers to be more.
Like again, it'd be better if you focus on her strengths. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Just focus on her strengths, which but she does have.
She has strengths.
She has strengths.
No doubt.
But just don't act as if every single time, somebody tries to come up with a rational analysis.
Right.
That it's just some smear.
Exactly.
That's just not healthy, man.
No, if it's a problem for somebody else, if you don't mind if we criticize somebody else, then why are you minding if we criticize somebody you like? It's just because it's somebody you like. And we should be above that because we're talking about politics here. We're not talking about she has a shirt on that I don't like and I'm going to hate on it. No, this is grounded in some rationale. This actually means some stuff, man. This isn't superficial. She has a position or she says some shit that we don't like because it's fake and it's whack. If anybody else would have said something that was fake and that was whack and we criticized it, you'd be like, right on. But with a certain candidate, it's like, oh, you went too far. Well, like what you said, you're waiting on somebody's response, right? Mm-hmm. You're waiting on that response, right? Mm-hmm. So, I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it's coming. You know what? Just to, hold on, I want to, because we let off with the North Carolina election. I just want to see if there's any.
Oh, yeah, any results from that.
Oh, looks like the GOP won. Said Republican Dan Bishop won the 9th district.
Ain't that interesting? Republicans cheated in the district, right? They cheated in that district.
Cheated in the district.
There are I can't remember how many people, but there are actually 7 people from that situation. That might be, let's see.
I don't see any numbers for the race, but there's a number of publications that are saying that he won.
Yeah, there was a Republican operative that got indicted.
Uh-huh.
Yep. 7 others indicted in that as well, in an absentee ballot investigation. That was about a month ago that this article came out. Yeah. 7 charged in North Carolina's District 9 ballot fraud.
Yeah, I don't think.
Man, see, I really hate it, and I really hate to think this way, but man, it's it's easy for me to say something like, hey, man, fuck these people. Those people get what they deserve. But then, damn, that's close. But unfortunately, the people who don't support corruption are going to be affected too.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I can't just say, man, fuck all these people. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't care. Y'all don't care about corruption.
So it looks like Bishop's going to win with about 4,000 more votes, which is close, about almost 95,000 to about 91,000. So about 4,000 votes that it looks like Bishop is going to win, which is more than what Harris was up by. Harris was up by only 905
votes, yeah. But
so
again,
maybe it was the wrong candidate for the Republican Party? Maybe it was that candidate that was bad for him or something.
Could have been. It could have been just a candidate.
So they had to cheat for him. But it ended up working out for him, huh? Ended up working out for him.
So they cheated. I think once your party cheats, it's done. You're done. You forfeit the election.
Why? That is true. Why should there be
why they try to get a second chance? Your candidate cheated, proven to commit ballot fraud.
There's only 2 people in the race. Your candidate lost? Okay, well, sorry, you cheated. Goes to the other guy. Whatever. Anyway, disappointing news, but I guess that's not really surprising given that the seat has been in GOP control for nearly 60 years. So anyway, all right, so we're going to get out of here. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. We will see you in a few days on Friday, about 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with a lot of debate coverage. Okay, so everybody have a good night, and see you in a bit. All right, peace out.